What's up, guys? Welcome back to Sundown Audio Unofficial, your home for all your behind the scenes footage from here at Sundown Audio. My name's Derek. Today we're doing an interview with the guy I'm gonna call the most hated man in car audio. We've got
Johnathan Price.
Alright, let's go straight to the juicy stuff. Let's talk about the rumors.
Let's do it.
All the rumors. So I'm gonna jump in and lead in first with the oldest rumor I remember ever hearing about you is a guy got on one of the forums and was complaining that you came to a car show and stole his buddy's girlfriend.
I don't. This one, I know I've heard it before, but it's been so long ago. Like you said, it's the oldest rumor that he remembers. So I think I've been going to car shows with my Tahoe for probably I think I've had it for almost 10 years now, maybe 8 or something like that. So a lot of time has passed in that. But when I first started taking it to car shows, I was young 20s, like early 20s or whatever. So, I mean, maybe it could have happened. I don't know. Like, I don't remember like going to a car show and leaving with some guy's girl or anything like that. That's news to me. But like you said, it was a rumor that popped up, and I think I broke the dude's heart more than anybody's.
Yeah,
like
that dude was upset.
He was upset that I don't know if the girl was like had a crush on me or what, because a lot of, as odd as it may sound, like a lot of guys like have a big crush on me, just like because they're either fans or whatever, so they're watching my videos a lot, and their girlfriends watch the videos as well, so they've kind of put me up on a pedestal, like they're all like excited to watch my videos, the guys are, and then when like they get around or whatever, they're like, well, a lot of the girls are disappointed, like, but anyway, I don't ever recall anything like that, but who knows if like after that couple left, if the girl like had mentioned that she found me attractive or whatever it may be, so
that got jealous.
Yeah, that could have been it. I mean, I don't know, but I've never left a car show with a girl like that, like ever, so I don't think that's a accurate assumption of
it's
what
a rumor for a reason.
Yeah, so it's another rumor. Like we all know, there's tons of them out there, and luckily all these rumors that have popped up over the course of time has helped me get to where I am today. So
yeah. So tell me, what's the craziest rumor in your opinion you think you've ever heard about yourself?
We all know it's going to be this one. The whole fact that I charge for demos. So we can go ahead and lay this out here. This is how it came about. So I'm a sales guy. Like, I'm a car audio sales guy. That's my profession. So how this came about is at Slamology, it may have been like 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago, I just started like selling stuff here and there. I just had like stickers and t-shirts for sale or whatever. So anyway, as you guys know, when I do go to car shows, I have like a huge line of people. Even back then it was a decent sized line or whatever, but anyway, you know, it's really expensive to go to these shows and make it to all these events. So in my mindset, being a business guy, I'm like, how can I help offset the cost of going to these events? And that's why I came up with the t-shirts and stickers and stuff like that for Down4Sound. And so I was like, well, everybody that gets in, I could just ask them, hey, would you like to purchase a sticker or a t-shirt to support me in what I'm doing in my movement of growing Down4Sound? You're never, and still to this day, I've never charged anybody for a demo, but if you get in my vehicle and get a demo, I'm gonna ask you if you want to support me by buying a t-shirt or a sticker. But the way that came about was somebody came up, I think it was right after I gave somebody a demo, and they heard me saying it's $5, and I was like, I don't know if they didn't see me passing them the sticker or whatever, so that's where the rumor came from, that I was charging $5 for a demo. So that's how it got stemmed. And obviously when haters get this like rumor, and they're going to spread it like crazy,
they can latch onto like a pit bull and they're going to run with it.
Exactly. So they posted it everywhere, and I'm this horrible person because I'm charging people for demos, and that's where it started from, though. Like, it's just, I don't even know who the guy was at the time, but that's how it got started. The like person walked up just at that time as I was like telling them it's $5, like, because they asked me like, well, how much is a sticker or whatever, and I'm like, it's $5. They just heard it's $5, and they got out of the truck because they
assumed it was for the demo.
Yeah, so that's how the rumor got started, and now I've just played on it from there. And so every year, like, I just add on to it, like, no, it's $10 now, it's $15 now. So this year I think it's like $25 or $30 for a demo.
I can tell you, I've heard this rumor for years, and I finally, like, every time I see it now, I ask the person online, did he charge you for a demo? And the answer is always no.
Yeah.
And they'll come back with, well, I know somebody he charged. Cool. Let me know who that is. And every time I try and get into it, like, look, show me somebody that says JP charged me for a demo.
Exactly. And there's
none.
Exactly.
There's zero. I've asked this over and over and over, and nobody can step up and say he charged me for a demo.
Exactly.
So
and the crazy thing is they'll go to the bank with that. Like, haters are so quick to believe somebody with zero credibility on the internet or anywhere. They're so quick to believe those people, but a person like myself that has a ton of credibility and a lot of followers and everything, they'll like crucify me before they'll believe anything. I'm like, where's this mindset come from, man? Like, I just can't get on the same wavelength as that. Like, how do you get behind somebody that has started a rumor and they have zero credibility? Like, why would you believe that person with zero proof? Like, because we asked for the proof of me charging, they can't provide any proof, yet you still believe them, or the haters still believe them. So it's like, I don't know if it's the generation we live in or what, but
it is. I see similar with the company, with Sundown. Sundown is put on a pedestal, and I'll say similar to you are. You get put on a little pedestal, so you got these guys that look for any little crack they can get a hold of, and they're digging in that crack just to find something to bring you down.
Right.
And I see it like crazy with the company. I see it with you. Like, they want to find something. They're out there just biting,
everything.
Yeah, they're trying to find anything they can latch a hold to.
Yeah, but that's probably definitely the most brought up rumor. Like, every time I turn around, he charges for demos. And the next one is, I don't know, it's not really a rumor, but it's the fact that I don't build my own system. Like, that's a big thing people bring up. He's not a bass head. He doesn't even know how to build. Yeah, he doesn't even know how to build his own system. Like, he's not a bass head. And I'm like, that's another mindset thing. Like, how do people like justify one person being a bass head and one person not? So if you call me not a bass head because I don't build my system, are you telling me that everybody else, every other kid, or like no matter how old they are, if they take their vehicle to a shop and get their system done, you're telling me they're not a bass head either?
That's crazy.
Like, I can't, and a lot of the people that say that are actually installers at shops. And I'm like, because I made a video about this a long time ago.
They're the guys that would want that support.
Exactly.
And they're complaining about
it.
They're
like hating people for supporting them for installing. And I made a video about this like a long time ago when I worked at the airport. It's probably been like, it's one of the first videos that I put on my YouTube channel addressing like built versus bought hypocrisy. Like, that was the title of it, because I just kept seeing it. Even back then I kept seeing that. I'm like, it doesn't even make zero sense. Like, this, especially the people that work at a shop and they're hating on me for taking and paying a person for their profession. Like, they're good at this, and I'm not a good installer. So that's why I think one of the problems is, like, you have people these days that try to be good at everything, but they end up being maybe mediocre at a lot of things. Like, and I believe if a person does something as a profession, such as James Taylor, he's an installer, he does a really good job. That's what he's good at. Like, I'm good at selling car audio equipment. I could probably do somewhat of an install on my time, but definitely not to that caliber. Like, all the fiberglassing, all the stuff that, like, the wire management it's a ton of work, and it takes you have to have a vision for something like that. Like, it doesn't, you could have instructions to put this stuff in there, but you really have to have like a vision to put that stuff together. So, and that's not me. Like, I believe in paying somebody for what they're good at. Like, so, like, pay Sundown because they're like, they build badass subs, and I feel like they're the best. So, like, that's, of course people can put together these Frankenstein woofers and everything like that, but not everybody can. Like, so that's why people pay the money that they do for the great product that they get from y'all or me. So that's my opinion on the whole build versus bought product.
Well, and it also gets to a point where your time just becomes more valuable than that. I would say it's cheaper for you to pay somebody else than to stop what you're doing to focus all your time on that, because what you're doing is just more valuable, more important. And I've seen that in my old age. A lot of things I might have done in the past, working on my own truck, doing engine work or oil changes. Now I just don't have the time. It's cheaper for me to pay somebody else to do it than to stop what I'm doing making money and try and do it on my own. And I look at systems the same way. Sometimes it's just makes better sense to pay somebody else to do things.
Exactly. That's a huge reason why, like, especially now with me owning Down4Sound and it growing like crazy, it would cost me way more. And I can understand where it would be hard for some people to grasp this mindset of there's no way it could cost a person more to pay somebody to do this than it would if he did it himself. There's like it's hard for a lot of people to grasp, but once you get to like making like these different levels of money, it ends up costing you so much money to do it yourself because it's taking so much of your time where you could be growing your business, you could be thinking of different strategies on growing it or what marketing you're gonna do, this and that, and now you're stuck like thinking how am I gonna run this wire like this way, or how am I gonna like do this box this way to get the best output.
At the same time you took to run that power wire from front to back of your vehicle, you could have sold 5 ZB515s.
Exactly.
And made far more money than you would pay somebody else to do that simple task.
Exactly. So hopefully that gives you guys some insight on that aspect as well. I feel like we're covering a lot of good stuff. That's a really good topic because, as you guys know, if you follow me for any sort of time, you see that often. Like JP doesn't even install his own stuff, or he doesn't even know anything about car audio. You really think I would be where I am today without knowing anything about car audio? Like I have to know at least a little bit if I'm leaps and bounds like selling stuff above a lot of the other companies out there that have been doing it for a very long time. So people would have called onto it by now if I didn't know what I was talking about. And I'll be the first to tell you, I don't know everything. Nobody out there knows everything, and I'm constantly learning. Like, luckily I have like Derek and Brandon and Michael, like all the guys here at Sundown. If I do have a question, I can shoot them a message, and they're even if he doesn't know it, like Michael will know it or Jacob will know it, somebody will know it. So and I've learned from that. So next time somebody asks me that question, I have that in my head. But I'm always learning. Like, and I suggest you do the same. Like, I know when I was younger, I had a know-it-all mentality for a while. I think we all go through that stage of knowing it all. So, but now I'm like a sponge, man. I'm trying to learn as much as possible, so I can pass it on as well. So I suggest you guys do the same. Just always try to learn stuff. But I don't know everything, but I definitely put in the time and looking up stuff or consulting with you guys on like stuff that I don't know, so I can learn that.
So with Down4Sound, you get a lot of tech questions. People send these questions straight to you, and you basically do all your own tech support. All these guys want to know about subs and wiring and boxes, and they all send that to you, and you have to know that information in order to give these people the answers and make these sales and bring these people in. And
right. So every day, like, I mean, I'm a lot of questions are monotonous. So, and maybe in the beginning I did not know these, but now it's like second nature. Like, what do you need to get a one-on load with 2 subwoofers? What do you need to get a one-on load with 1 sub? Like, what do you care?
The basics when you're trying to help somebody build a system. They want to buy a whole system one time, and you want to help them piece that together correctly.
Exactly. So, and that was stuff that, like, when I first started, I didn't know that, but now it's like I can spout it off easily. And same thing with like box recommendations. Like, so you have a SA12, which is around 1.8 or 2 cubic feet, whereas the X12 or up is usually around 2.5 cubic feet. So I didn't know that either when I first started, but I always consulted with you guys, and you guys were able to tell me like why the differences are there and why one needs more airspace and stuff like that. So that's just like part of my learning process of like steadily growing mindfully, not just like maybe financially and other aspects, but I'm always trying to grow in my brain, not just all the other areas, because I think being very knowledgeable or as knowledgeable as possible in like what you're selling or what your niche is very important. So always trying to learn in that aspect.
All right, I want to shift back to some of the charging and the little rumors and things. Let's go to charging for signatures.
Mm-hmm.
Something that just blows up on the internet.
Yeah.
And it goes through these phases, like it'll die out for a little bit and all of a sudden something will happen.
Like a new hater finds out about
it. Here it goes again. And I'll start with this one and tell you, I know from experience, because we do it here.
Mm-hmm.
We have stuff, we sign. I run shipping.
Mm-hmm.
So for anybody who doesn't know, I run shipping. So if somebody wants Jacob to sign something, I have to go physically get this product, or one of the guys in shipping, somebody has to go physically get this product, bring it up, cut the box open it up, pull this product out, unbag it, get it all out and ready to go. We then either have to bring it up to the office, stop Jake from what he's doing, or we will walk up to the office so we don't have to transport this product back and forth. Walk up to this office, bother Jake, stop him what he's doing, and his time is extremely valuable. Just
exactly.
like I
can
mentioned, your time is extremely valuable. His time is extremely valuable sitting at his desk, but then he's got to stop, come out to shipping, sign this, go back, box it all back up.
Right.
And then people don't understand why you want to charge for it.
It comes to the whole like time thing is the big thing. Like people that don't have a lot of stuff going on, like they can't grasp like how a person's time can become so valuable as to like. Yeah, because they see it only takes you 5 minutes for him to walk back there, but he could be in the middle of like finishing up this new design revision for a subwoofer, and like, and then
they don't get. He's working on a Nightshade version 8.
Exactly.
He's working 3 years down the road, and this is extremely important to the growth of the business. And
exactly.
You can't even put a value on that.
Exactly, but like, so it's hard for a person that has absolutely nothing going on with a ton of time, where their time isn't worth really anything because they have a surplus of time and nothing to do with it. Whereas
this
me
is
and
somebody
Jacob
that's sitting on a couch watching a TV, like they don't understand that concept of their time being so valuable.
Exactly. So but when it comes to like me, Jacob, or like company owners especially, like we're constantly like thinking all these different things that we can take our business to the next level, and or like come out with a new product. Like Jacob he's in the middle of designing this thing, and he just came up with this brilliant idea, and he's trying to get it down on paper on his computer, and here you come through the door, hey, I need you to come sign this thing. So he gets up and comes out there, and he comes back, he's like, crap, what was I like? I had this insane idea. This was going to be a game changer. Now I can't even think of it. What was that? So now he's at a standstill with like where he was going with the product, and that, like you said, you can't put a price on that. So anytime in person. So going back to the charging for a signature, the funny thing is, absolutely zero people that pay for me to autograph their product when, so say I'm at the warehouse, like people, if you've been on my store, you see there's an option for a JP signature. 100% of the people that pay for that option have absolutely no problem with it. They never squawked about it. The only people that have a problem with it are people that's never going to buy from me, never want my signature, or just like haters or whatever.
Yeah,
like
they're complaining just to complain.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're never gonna
about something that will affect them in no way ever.
Exactly. They're never gonna. They don't even want it, but they have so much to say about it. So and that's the reason why. Like, and the only time I do charge for something is when it is coming out from my warehouse and people want it, because, like you said, like I either I have to go back there and pull this. Maybe a ZV5 or a team sub, whatever. It can be a 90-pound, 150-pound subwoofer out of the box and get it out. A lot of people want me to make videos signing it and everything like that. So it's very time consuming. And when I'm working on a deal that could be making $5,000, and like I have to go over here and I may miss out on the deal and just for nothing if I wasn't charging for it. But so if I'm doing a signature in person, that's why there's a $25 fee right now for what it was. And I started out like it was absolutely nothing at first. I just put it as an option, but the demand was so far up there, I couldn't keep up with the demand because there's so many people requesting for my autograph. I couldn't even keep up with it. So it was making people's shipments get delayed to like 1 day later or 2 days later, because I was a one-man show at that time, so I'm having to unbox everything, box it back up. So for me to ship one thing is taking me 30 minutes instead of just slapping a label on it and rolling it out. So
you almost had to find a way to throttle that back and kind of get the people who really wanted the signature. You know, weed into them where you weren't just doing it willy-nilly, you know, for every Joe Blow that wanted it.
precisely, because I felt like at the beginning when there was no charge for it, everything that I sold, everybody was selecting that, because a lot of people that do buy from me are supporters of mine, and like, or subscribers or fans, whatever it may be. So everybody was like selecting that option. I'm like, holy crap. I took it off for a while, but then it was like, because I couldn't keep up with it, so I took the whole option off of there. And then I had people messaging me like, hey, I wanted to buy this, but I see your autograph option isn't there anymore, so I don't, like, I can just buy it from wherever. Like, it's not a big deal. I'm like, well, crap, I don't want to miss out on the sale, so I want to put it back on there. So I just started out at like $1, and then that didn't faze anybody, and I went to $5, and that didn't faze anybody. So I just kept bumping it up over time as I've become more and more busy, to help offset like the volume of it. So that's why it is where it is now. And if you ever see me in person, like at a show, like, or wherever it may be, I don't ever charge for anything like at a show, because I'm there and the t-shirts are already out, or I'm getting a demo of your system. Like, I'll sign your stuff there, no problem, no charge.
Or that whole problem of having to go pull a product out in the warehouse, unbox it. There's not that whole ordeal.
Exactly.
It's already right there on the table.
Yeah, it takes 2 seconds to do it, and they're happy and on their way. So that's the only time that I do it. And like, I appreciate you guys that have supported me with no questions asked on doing the signature option when you buy stuff from me, because like I said, most of the people, or I would say 100% of the people that do select that option, they know if it's $25, it's kind of like covering, you're paying the shipping, whereas like I may be paying the shipping, I'm paying the shipping 99% of the time, because all you guys know that you get free shipping over $100. So they're going to take advantage of that. So if you do select that, you're like helping cover the charge of the shipping, or you're like giving me a tip basically on providing you a good service, or getting your product out to you fast, however you want to cut it. But that's how that whole ordeal came about. So the same thing with the people that that have a whole surplus of time, like when they're playing on their computer all day, hating on everybody on the internet for whatever they have going on. They're like, I would never do that. And me personally, I probably would have said that JP 6 years ago. I probably would have said the same thing before anybody ever asked me for an autograph, or I had plenty of time on my hands. I'm like, I would never do that. Like, that's like, how hard is that? But it just comes down to the whole time thing. So that's where it is where it is today. So
all right, let's talk about YouTube. And how long ago did you start your YouTube channel?
I think well, so this is a funny story too. Like, I started.
Let's just go about the whole beginning. Like, how long ago? What made you start it? Like, what drove you into that?
So back in the day, some of you guys may have been following me for a very long time. When I first got started, one of the things that I guess you could say inspired me was seeing the granddaddy of them all on YouTube, which was Steve Mead. Like, he had his Tahoe and the 418s. Everybody,
I actually remember you from the Steve Mead forum way back in the day.
Exactly. So a lot of people started watching Steve Mead's videos, because back in the day, and he started in 06 when YouTube started, nobody else had any videos on YouTube. So if you saw a car audio video on YouTube, it was Steve's. Like, so, and he had all the cool videos, like the eyeball popping out and like all that stuff. Everybody knows those videos. That's the grandfathered in videos. Everybody knows those. So
millions and millions of views.
Exactly. So I was just browsing YouTube, and I came across it. I'm like, dang, man, that's awesome, man. Like, seeing like the girl's hair flying around and everybody's reaction videos and stuff. I'm like, man, I never knew car audio could be done like that. It's like, it's another level at that time. So I'm like, man, like, I want to get something going like that. So that's when I decided to have a Tahoe built, or my Tahoe built like his, so I can have some similar reaction and see how cool it was.
Did you already have a system at the time?
I don't think I think I may have had like something like very small in my Tahoe. May have been like two RD 15s and like a 1500 watt amp or something. It was
so
considerably
you were kind of already a little bass head already on the way.
Yeah, I was already I kind of like, I got bit by the bass head bug when I was like about 14. Like, I was with my mom. This is another totally sidetracked story, but I was with my mom.
This is the stories people want to hear.
Yeah, I was with my mom riding with her. And somebody pulls up beside me, and like, I was young. I didn't know anything really about vehicles or systems and how they work. But I just thought vehicles just came with speakers in them, and that was how it was. I didn't know you could like buy speakers for them or whatever. So anyway, me and my mom were sitting at this red light, and somebody pulls up beside us, boom, 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 and I'm like, man, what is that? Like, what is that noise? Like I never heard it before. It was the first time I actually heard bass. Like, and anyway, it's this guy that lives in my old hometown or whatever, and I'm just sitting there like listening to it, and I roll down the window, and like I'm just like, it was like right then I was addicted. Like I just knew I would love bass or whatever. So anyway, I was 14, and then a little while later I ended up back in, I don't know if you still can, but back in the day you could get what's called a hardship license. If you had a job, you could get a hardship license, and you could drive from like 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. or something like that, where you could just drive pretty much back and forth to your job.
Yeah.
So anyway, I had borrowed my dad's truck to go back and forth to work, because he worked on the river at a time for 30 days at a time. He was gone working on the river, so I would use his truck to go back and forth to work while he was gone. Anyway, I was coming home from work one day, and I hear it again. I'm like, where the hell's that coming from, man? That's that bass sound. And I see him, here he comes pulling up, and he's like behind me, like, I don't know, 3 cars back. So I sit through the whole red light, and let all the cars go, so he passes me, and I get behind him, and he pulls into this gas station. I'm like following the dude, like stalking him. And anyway, he pulls up and he's like getting gas, and I like pull up beside him, like, man, what's in there, man? What's making that noise? And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, that bumping noise. And he's like, oh, my bass. And I'm like, I guess. And I didn't even know what it was called. And he's like, oh yeah, I got these subs back here. He has like some, I don't know, Rockford something back there. And it was in a Chevy truck or whatever. So a lot of people know the Chevy trucks have like really weak roofs, and like when he would play it, it would ripple the roof, like just waving. I'm just like mind blown, man. I'm like, holy crap. And I'm like, so I'm asking him, can I hear it and everything like that, and I was definitely hooked from that moment on. So that's the guy that, his name's Eric Washington. Like I ended up becoming like really good friends with him, and now when I go back home and visit my parents, like I'll stop by and see him every now and then, like just to see how he's doing. But yeah, it's that's how like I got hooked on the whole becoming a bass head thing. It's been in me since I was like 14. It's crazy to think that was 20 years ago. Yeah. Like that much time's already went by. I feel old. But anyway, so with the coming back to the YouTube thing, like when I started getting the bigger system or seeing Steve's system, I'm like, man, I want to do 415s and a no wall and like and a bunch of power on them and stuff like that. So had a guy come out to do that, and he installed that. And the more, like back then, forums were a big thing. There was nobody really posted on MySpace or Facebook about their car audio stuff. Forums were the place to be. CarAudio.com, Steve Mead's site, like all these places, car like classifieds. Yeah, everybody.
We'll even go way back to like Sound Domain, like that's.
Yeah, I had one there. I can't remember like the other. There's several. I was like a member of all of them. Like I was dozens. That's all I did. Like I was surfing them all day long, and I'd post anyway. So when I started having the build done, I would post what we were doing on the build, like the progress pictures and stuff like that. And people were like, "What show are you going to be going to?" And I'm like, I don't know, like Scraping the Coast or whatever. So I'd go to the show, and a couple of people would see me down there, and then they'd post like, "Oh yeah, the demo was nice and stuff." And somebody asked like, well, "Did you get any videos of it?" I'm like, "I don't even have a camera, man." At that time, I had like a Nokia like little brick phone, like it won't even record video. And anyway, I'm like, "No, like why?" And they're like, "Man, you need to start a YouTube channel so we can keep up with like the demos and stuff, so we can watch your demos." And I'm like, all right. So my mom had some kind of like cheap, like just straight up camera, not a phone or anything. But so I went to the next show and I made a couple of videos, and I started my first YouTube channel was called Bagged Z71. It's still there, but anyway, like I started uploading the videos to there, and I really started being diligent about the uploads and everything. And then somebody ended up hacking it and deleting like all my videos from it, and so I'm like, man, screw this, I'm not doing this. Like nobody cares if I'm uploading the videos or whatever. So I just threw in the towel on it, and I wasn't gonna do YouTube videos anymore. And the more that time went on, and people like kept requesting for me, like, man, we want you to do more YouTube videos. I'm like, well, maybe I should start doing it. And then by that time, more people were adding me on Facebook and stuff, so like the demand was there, or it was growing. Anyway,
because back then there wasn't a lot of huge systems. There was very few. Now it's way more prevalent in car audio. There's humongous systems everywhere.
Right, exactly. Like so, back back when I was doing it, like if you had 418s and 20,000 watts, you're king ding-a-ling. Like, it was just so far on another level. It's almost like what my system right now almost seems normal, like six Team 18s and like 3 or 4 NS2s, like all this big stuff that I have, like almost every time you turn around you see everybody doing it. So like
it's almost unbelievable to think that's the level that car audio has gotten to now. There's so many of these just ginormous builds out there.
Exactly. And so and that's how I got started pretty much with the YouTube thing. So eventually more people kept leaning on me to do more videos. I'm like, well, screw it, like I'll do another YouTube channel, like, and then I was like, what am I going to call it? Because when I was uploading to bagged Z71, like the way that I got that name was I went to Nashville Auto Diesel College for auto collision repair technician work, because I thought I wanted to be an auto collision tech back in the day. So a lot of people think I don't know anything about cars and how to fix them or whatever, but I actually graduated like second in my class from that program. So I was really skilled at painting and body work at that time. But anyway, so we were bagging and body dropping trucks at that time. Were taking off like crazy, like doing that custom work. So a friend of mine had a Chevy truck, and we ended up bagging and body dropping it, custom frame from the firewall back, and like just everything was tubbed out, just next level stuff. And anyway, so I was like, I'm gonna bag my Z71 truck. Like, so I ended up putting air ride on my Z71 that I had at the time, and I was like, okay, my name's Bag Z71, so that's how I got that name. Anyway, so with that name, it wasn't specific to one thing. Like I could just upload anything to it. So if I started another channel and I just called it like Basshead Central or whatever, like it would have to be everything just Basshead stuff, really. Because if I uploaded like swimming with the pigs in the Bahamas, they'd be like, why the hell are you uploading that to a Basshead channel? Like that doesn't make sense. So anyway, I was like, I'll just make it The Life of Price, because I'm just sharing, which most of it is always going to be car audio. But if I happen to go skydiving or swim with the pigs in the Bahamas, or traveling or whatever, like
now it's all about you.
Exactly. I'm just sharing
just one topic. It's everything you're doing.
All right, exactly. And I just share, like, and I think that's another reason why people, like my fan base and stuff, has grown pretty fast, is because people, like, I put it all out there, like whether I'm cutting grass or fueling airplanes or like packing sub orders or whatever it is, like I just put it out there, and people, I think, feel like they know me on a more personal level, because like I'm just doing what they do. Like I have a job, and like I wake up and go to work.
It helps them to know you're a real person.
Right.
You know, some people, they see people on YouTube, especially some of the bigger channels, and they put them up on this pedestal like that's a movie star, and they forget that, well, that's an everyday person too. They wake up in the morning, they take a shower, they put clothes on, they go to work.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's just pretty much how it all started, and that's why I named my second channel The Life of Price, because if I wanted it to be some totally random video, I didn't want people to be like, why are you posting that on here? Like, it's not a Basshead video. So I did that, but like you guys know from now, I probably have 2,000 videos on there or more, but most of them are car audio videos, because that's what I love to do, and that's what the niche is really. But it just grew from there. People asking for me to make videos of my system way back then, and then obviously every rebuild, like I would document it and everything like that, so people can go way back on my YouTube channel and just see the progress of the Tahoe over the years.
At what point did you realize, I'll say, how important YouTube was, how big this could be?
Probably like when I was getting to, I don't know, probably like 25,000 or maybe 30 or 40,000 subscribers. Back in the day, you had to be selected to be ad revenue. Like you had to partnered. You had to be actually selected. Like you had to like fill out this application, and I got denied like 9 times. Like I kept like, I'm like, everybody else, like, well, not everybody, but I'm like, how does this person have like a partnership with YouTube and their videos suck, man? Like they're like riding their bike around and they got partnership with YouTube. Like how the hell does that happen? But anyway, I was so close to giving up, because I just kept, like, every time they'd deny me, I would just go back and resubmit, like change some stuff, resubmit, and just keep putting out content. And then finally, like on the 10th time, like they accepted me as a partner on YouTube, and I'm like, yes. I'm gonna make a killing on YouTube, man. I'm gonna be rich.
And then you realized it doesn't happen that way.
Exactly. So then we can go over that too. A lot of people like keep ad revenue and stuff like that as this big secret, but maybe when I first started, maybe then I was kind of secretive about it, but now I'm like, man, if it helps somebody like or motivates somebody to that is something that they end up liking to do, then that's great. But like, I'm here to tell you, it's a very hard road to go down to if you're thinking you're going to make a living off of YouTube. It requires a ton of work, and Derek's experiencing it himself.
I'm definitely experiencing that firsthand right now. There's so much work involved, especially if you want to really grow your channel big and put out a lot of content. I'm trying to do that one video a day, and it is rough where I have my full-time job, my daily life, my family to take care of, you know, my side things where I'm still trying to go have fun on the side, and then I'm trying to run this channel. It's an entire second job. It just went from me doing a 50-hour work week to a 90-hour work week trying to run a YouTube channel on the side.
Exactly. And I mean, he's telling the proof's in the pudding right there, guys. Like, it's until you actually do it, and I have people hitting me up all the time. We were just talking about this earlier. People will hit me up because they know I have a following on YouTube, and they're like, hey, I want to give me a shout out, give my YouTube channel a shout out. Sometimes they don't even have a YouTube channel yet, and they want a shout out. Two, they have a YouTube channel started with 0 videos, but they're going to put videos on there, and 99% of these people that have told me that, and I go back 2 months later and there's still 0 videos on there. So if you're not showing me that you have at least a little bit of initiative, like you have like 10, 20 videos, like, so letting me know that you're somewhat serious about doing this, it's just a waste of my time or somebody's time, like giving you a shout out, because it's going to make the people pissed off. Like, hey, go check out this guy's ghost channel. Like, there's nothing there.
You know what? You're going to recommend the channel. Your fan's going to go to check it out. And I'm like, what the hell? Why do you send me there for? And now
it's a bad vibe. Yeah, so it's a bad vibe. So anyway, so going back to growing a YouTube channel, I did a video a day for almost 3 years, and like Derek was saying, he or back in the day, I was working at the airport. If you guys have been following me for a long time, you know that I worked at an airport for 10 years, literally pumping gas into airplanes. And I would go to work full time, and then like I would take off on Friday, try to go to a show. If I could get off, I would go to a show on Saturday, and Sunday come back. Right when I get back, I get to editing. Like, I'd get a video out that night, the next day after work.
Which is another ton of work. If you do your own editing, it's a lot.
Oh, pushing the record button is the easiest part. Like, and I got to where, like, at the end of a couple of years, I was so like mentally exhausted from pushing that button. Like, I would go to shows and I'm like, I was like frozen. I couldn't push it because I knew as soon as I pushed that, that's when all the work started. Like, it's almost like when you go hunting or fishing, like catching the fish or like shooting the deer or whatever, that's the easy part. Dragging the damn thing 2 miles through the woods, that's when the work starts. So that's it's in all aspects of life. But if you find something that you love to do, it's enjoyable to like be like reeling the fish in and cleaning it and preparing it for your family or whatever. So anyway, after doing it for so long, like a video a day, literally a video a day for probably over 2 years, I was just like, man, my head was just burnt. But that's how I grew my following, though. Like, people knew that they could come to my channel for content. I was the only one hitting all these shows, and I went at my peak of show. I mean, I travel more miles now, but as far as like with my Tahoe, like me driving my Tahoe, I don't do it a lot now because it comes back down to the time thing. Like, it's more worth my time to pay somebody to haul my truck to a show. It's not that I can't drive it there, because it's still very drivable, but it's more worth it for me to pay Roderick to load up my Tahoe and drive it to Slamology, me fly directly into Indianapolis, hop in my truck, take it to the show, play it, and him take it back and take care of it so I can get back and take care of my business.
Yeah, it allows you to get more work done, earn more money faster.
Exactly. So that's when I started realizing, probably like 30, or going back to the question, about 30 or 40,000 subscribers. I'm like, man, I started seeing the bigger picture. But the bigger picture at that time wasn't the bigger picture that I see now. But I did see like I can turn this into something. If you get a big following, you can leverage it into some sort of revenue because you have a lot of people in your circle. So if you have 250,000 people in your circle and you come at them with a product, this is a good product, you're not taking advantage of anybody, you're offering them maybe a service, like whatever it may be. You're able to offer them this, like through you, they trust you because they've been watching you forever, like they know you're a good down-to-earth guy or whatever it may be. So I knew at that time, like even though I was generating a little bit of revenue, like starting out with revenue when I first got partnered, like when I started seeing like a cent a day come in, I was like, man, I like this. I love doing this, and there's pennies starting to roll in. Like, and I'm like, man, if I could turn this into 10 cents a day, like that's gonna be this and that's gonna be that. And if I doubled that or tripled that,
rolling, and you're like, what can I do to make $1 a day or $5 a day?
And that's exactly how it starts, guys. It does not start off like you start making $100 a day off of YouTube. Like that's way down the road, but you have to see that bigger picture way down the road. A big problem with it's not just kids these days, but everybody, like they have like their fog lights on. When you ask a person their 5-year plan or their 10-year plan, like they have
everybody
no
wants
idea.
Instant satisfaction. The gratification. They want it. They want to do something and be rewarded right now. Like you can't make 2 videos and all of a sudden you got 250,000 followers. It just doesn't happen that way. It's something you have to set out long term and work that long term plan on.
Right. So like I said, it's not something that you can't do, but it's something that takes a lot of work and that you have to put that in. So I saw that at a very small, like when it was very small, I started just seeing those coins start coming in. I'm like, man, if I could get to the $1 a day, or so I could see. When I got to the $1, I'm like, I could see $2, I could see $3, I could see $5, and then before I knew it, like I knew if I kept doing what I was doing, if I kept watering this plant, so to speak, that it was going to keep growing. It's just like anything. Analogy. It's just like anything in life. Like the more, like if you keep watering a seed, it's going to grow, it's going to sprout out of the ground, it's going to blossom into something awesome. But as soon as you start not watering it or not nurturing it, it's going to start wilting, and that's what has started happening to my channel now because I haven't been watering it so much. So I'm going to tell you guys like a plan that I have in place to help start watering my channel again so it'll start blossoming again. But anyway, so at that time, that's when I saw like what I thought at that time was the bigger picture. I'm like, man, if I could get to $10 a day or $25 a day, I can pay for my cell phone bill. Like if I can get to this much a month, and that's like free cell phone coverage, so I can go to these shows and I can do all this and it'll be free. If I can make it to $300 a month or whatever, I could technically go buy a new vehicle if I wanted to, and it's paid for by YouTube. But I'm pretty minimal on like the way that I live. Like a lot of people see like I travel a lot or whatever, but 90% of my traveling is for my business. Like I go to shows, and it is. Luckily, like I get to do something that I love. I know you talked to Brian about like you guys love to come to work and do what you do, and it's very important. And I just made a post the other day about. It
irritates me to hear anybody whine about going to work. It really irritates me. Like, then why are you doing it? Why do you dread getting up in the morning and going to your job? Get a job you want to do. I love getting up and work. I wake up in the morning and I don't wake up and go, oh my God, I gotta go to work. I wake up like, all right, let's go to work.
Yeah.
And I hop right out of bed. Like, I love what I do here.
Right.
This didn't happen overnight.
Right.
These were contacts I made, and I watered that plant. I made contacts. I put myself in position to be available. And I didn't have to ask for a job. I never once asked. I was just there, good at what I did. These guys knew I was good at what I did, and when the time came, they offered it.
Yeah, and that's a huge proponent to getting to where you want to be at in life as well, but and like the positioning too. So getting to the like growing my YouTube, I knew the thing that really got, I don't know if you're going into like how I got started in business next, but it kind of like flows into that. So
that's exactly what I want to do. So you talked about, you started the YouTube, you started getting the fan base, you started going to shows, and then you realized you could create your own product. and start selling your own product.
Right. So I knew, like, at that time, if I so I started getting some of my expenses covered, like, because the bigger your following gets, the more people want you to come to their event, because you have a following to leverage to get them to the event, which is going to be better for everybody. So the more attendance you have, the better a show is going to be. But anyway, so I started going to these shows, and people at that time, say I was running Sundown Audio at the time, and they're like, they're all like, I give them a demo and they're all hyped up, and they're like, where can I get that from? I'm like, oh, you just go to sundownaudio.com. At that, I don't even know if y'all had a bunch of dealers at that time, like back when I first started, but anyway, I was like, dude, I'll just go to sundownaudio.com and get their product, and that's all I did, because I was somewhat sponsored at the time. That's a whole other subject we could go over too, is sponsorship these days, and what people think it is.
Yes.
But anyway, so I would just tell them to go to their website and order their products if they wanted it, and then it was like 3 times that happened. Like the next show I went to, somebody asked me like, hey, where can I get those amps at or whatever? I'm like, you can. And the light bulb went off in my head.
Finally clicked.
And I'm like, man, I could be selling these people this stuff, because everybody always asks me, where do you get your equipment from? I was like, I could be selling these people this stuff, and I could make a living off of it. So that's when it clicked with me. Like the light bulb went off, and I'm like, man, this would be awesome. And that's how, like, that's how the idea got started on the whole YouTube thing. So. Or leveraging my YouTube into making another side hustle. So at that time, I don't know, I was probably making like not a ton, maybe 15,000 that year. I maybe did 15,000 on YouTube or something like that. But at that time, like, I saw the bigger picture of being able to leverage advertising for my own business on my YouTube channel. Because another thing that came up that made a light bulb go off in my head was, okay, some companies are paying YouTube for ads to put on my videos. What if I put my own ads on my own videos, and I got paid for
videos, your ads?
Exactly. So that's something, and then that popped up, and I'm like, man, and that really like helped me grasp the whole a lot bigger picture of like what I was first seeing as a big picture, like, oh, if I could make $5 a day.
So now you realize you can become the salesman. You know, now you realize you're already advertising for these companies of the product you're running.
Right.
Now you can become a salesman for those companies. You can start selling product to make money, building your own product to make money. And but let's dive into that, where when you first kind of started as a dealer, and, so some people think, oh, I'm gonna become a dealer and I'm gonna make so much money, I'm gonna have so many sales, and I won't spoil it. I'll let you tell a story. But you became a Sundown dealer, and how did that go?
I was it's funny, I think I was a dealer because like I was running RD Audio at the time, and like I had a really bad falling out with them, and I would say like I always was kind of a face to car audio growing up, like growing my YouTube channel and stuff. Like the company started seeing how it was important for advertising and stuff like that. So I always had at that time a lot smaller face. Not saying I have a really big head now with a big face, but like people started taking notice to I could increase their sales by having their equipment in my vehicle. Anyway, I had a falling out with the guy that ran RD Audio at the time. We did a bunch of grimy stuff, and then Jacob, like I don't know how I became friends with Jacob or whatever, but he was like, man, if you, like, he made me a deal on some 4500s at the time, and he's like, if you want to swap to our 4500s and pay this or whatever, we'll work with you, because I see what you're doing, and I'd like to have Sundown in your truck.
Yeah. And you didn't get it free.
Right. So I had to
get it free.
Yeah, so I still had to pay for the product, and even at that time, I mean, I may have had, I don't know, 40,000 subscribers or whatever. So, and I still paid for my product. I switched to Sundown, and I think in order for him to do what he did, he had to keep his contracts legal with the companies that he had as dealers at the time. Like he had to, like I had to become a dealer somewhat at the time, but I wasn't even thinking about selling stuff at that time. I was just like, okay, if I can get your product at a cheaper price by being a dealer or whatever, and me trading in, like I don't know the exact deal or whatever, but I think I had to give him all my amps and pay for shipping and some more money on top of it to get the product at a little bit of a discount. So I got, at the end of the day, I was able to get new amps really fast, and I got them at a good price, but yeah, they definitely weren't free by any means. So that's how my dealer my dealer account got set up, but I never used it though because I wasn't into really the sales side yet until the light bulb went off in my head. That's when I contacted I think it was Jacob. I'm like, hey, I'd like to start selling your stuff. He's like, what's stopping you? You're able to sell it. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, you started becoming a dealer like a year ago or 2 years ago or whatever it was. I was like, wait, really? He said, yeah. So I was already like as a dealer. So at that time, I just like well, this was fast forward a bunch of years.
And you finally got a website set up and had that going.
So the website thing came from the whole forum thing back in the day. I think trolling was like just at I don't know if it was an all-time high at that, but people just couldn't ask like newbies or noobs or whatever. They couldn't ask a simple question without getting bashed by people that have been on the website for a long time. So if somebody's like, hey, how do I wire 2 subs up to a 1-ohm load with this amp, blah blah blah, it would be more hating comments like, you idiot, you don't know how to do that, all you have to do is search the damn internet and the answer's right there. So instead of like just answering it really quick, they would diss the person or put them down instead of helping them. So that's why I started Down4Sound, was because, and I started that when I was 25 in Las Vegas. As odd as it is, like I came up with the name and dropped me starting Down4Sound on the Las Vegas Strip when I was 25, and now here I am 9 years later and I have a business in Las Vegas. How crazy is that? But anyway, so I started a forum because I wanted it to be a place where people could come to, and the #1 rule was no trolling, no bashing, like no talking down to people, because I was just tired of seeing people like not being able to ask a question, or they're just making fun of them just because they don't know. So anyway, I made it for that reason, and it probably lasted for a decent while before people started moving off of forums and onto Facebook, or I think MySpace a tad, but then Facebook really started to take off, and everybody just started posting all their builds and stuff on Facebook instead of on forums anymore. So that's why I started Down4Sound, and that's like I just carried the name, and then I just turned it in. It's such a catchy, flowing name. Like Down4Sound is just like a golden name when it comes to like just a name for a car audio shop, because it rolls off your tongue nicely. Like I've actually had people like that are good with coming up with words. I can't remember what they're called, but they're like it's like a perfect name for a car audio shop.
It's super catchy.
Yeah, and then like now people, it's becoming more and more, as you guys know, like in these years, like people, it's almost a household name, but it's definitely like getting out there more and more. But anyway, so I just always kept the name, and when the forum started going away, I'm like, well, what can I do with this this name that I have? And that's when about around the same time was looking at starting to sell stuff, and I was like, well, how am I going to sell it? Like, and obviously first starting out, your sales are really slow. Like if you get like 1 sale a month, you're like, yes, like I made a sale this month. So I was able to deal with people like just message me on Facebook or send me an email, and I'll like take your order that way. And so I did that for a while, and then I started noticing, like, crap, I don't have time to deal with so many people. They already know what they want, but like they have to come to me to get it because I don't have a website for them to come buy it from. So anyway, ended up using the name Down4Sound, or the website, or the URL Down4Sound, and converted it into a store, and that's how I got it to where it is now with the store. So it's just grown from there, but that's how it started, was the whole thing with Jacob.
So there was a point, and I remember where I don't know your exact story, how you transitioned, but you still had your full-time job. Mm-hmm. This was all just side stuff at the time. I just remember a point here when all of a sudden you went all in.
Yeah.
And you're like, you went all in, big shop, big everything, and as far as I know, you quit your job, your full-time job.
I got fired.
I don't know the whole story behind that. I just remember I just remember here seeing that you put in the order, and like, this is it. You're doing this full-time now.
Right.
So let's talk about that.
So when
the order came in, I was like, holy shit. JP's going hard.
As I was telling you guys, I was working at an airport for 10 years, And I love aviation. Aviation is like my true passion. Like I love airplanes, love flying, love everything about them. So even at that time, like I loved what I was doing. Unfortunately, I'm trying to think of how I can just put it into a very short story, because it could be lengthy as well. Anyway, the person, like me and this one guy worked there for 10 years, and on the 9th year, or 8.5 years, my boss at the time hired a full-time mechanic, which ended up being like the most manipulative guy on the face of the earth. Anyway, he brainwashed my boss into firing his 2 10-year employees, and that was, at that time, I think I had started dabbling in car audio sales. Like my first technical year of doing car audio sales, I did like $7,000 in sales for the entire year. I wasn't even pushing it. I was just like, if somebody asks me if I can get something, I'll sell it to them.
Basically just offered it and just let sales come in naturally.
Right, and I wasn't even telling anybody about it on Facebook or anything like that. I was just like, if the opportunity presents itself, I'll make the sale, but I'm not going to tell anybody I'm selling car audio, because I didn't know how to sell really.
I remember before you did that, you hit that point when you went all in. It was very rare for you to make a sale.
Yeah, exactly.
So somebody had even asked me about you and what you used to do selling product, and I'm just like, that's not how it went. JP, what did he? Oh, he said JP slinging product out of his garage, and I'm like, yeah, it wasn't going like that. Like I can't talk about it and all, but like it wasn't like that.
Yeah. So I just the first, I think it was like the second year. So like after that dude started there, like I'd already done the first year, and then so the second year I'd already started ramping up my like trying to make sales, like making like posts maybe once every couple of weeks, like, hey, if you need any car audio, hit me up or whatever. I'd post a link to the website, because like I just had very minimal products on there as well at that time. So but I was becoming more active and more hungry for like growing this, because I was seeing the bigger picture. Anyway, so at that time of that guy brainwashing my boss and getting him to fire his 2 10-year employees, that's it. I'd already, like, I had a plan. Like, this is another, I'm not trying to, well, I guess I can be somewhat inspirational. A lot of people find my path that I've been down and what I've accomplished in this somewhat, some people think is a really short amount of time, inspirational, but this will let you know, like, no matter what happens to you, like, you can have the worst things happen to you, but it's all about how you react to them. And when I got fired, I was like, man, like, I had this plan, like I was gonna work throughout the end of the year, and like by this time I met Jessica, and I was gonna be like, I'd already made the plan to move to Las Vegas to like take that next step or whatever. So I'm like, okay, I'll finish working here the rest of the year, and I have 3 weeks of vacation, so I'll take my 3 weeks of vacation starting January 1st through the 21st, move all my stuff out, get paid to move all my stuff to Vegas, and then come back like I quit. Mm-hmm. So that was my plan, but obviously I got like
kind of monkey wrench thrown in that.
Exactly. So I got fired before I can't. It was because at the time. So when you work at an airport, you have to sump the fuel every day. It doesn't even matter now, but you have to sump fuel every day to make sure, you have to do cleanliness checks, like to make sure there's not too much water condensation that's built up in the tanks and contaminants or whatever. So you just have to do these sump checks. 99% of the time, the fuel that you're sumping is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with it. There's no contaminants or nothing. But at that time, you couldn't pour it back in the tank. It was against the law. You had to just chunk it out as a loss. You had to put it in a sump tank, and I'm like, what? Like, so if I put it in this sump tank, this big tank, my boss has to pay somebody to come pick the sump fuel up at that. And when you put in the sump, like, there's two different aviation fuels. There's avgas and then there's jet fuel. So when you mix them, it turns into shit. Like, you can't do anything with it. Well, you can burn it on what they did, what the companies did that came and got it. They would come get it and they would take it to offshore oil tankers, and they can burn like pretty much garbage to their engines, and they run. So that's where they took it to. Anyway, so I was like, avgas is pretty much, you can run it in your like lawnmowers, and you can even put it in your vehicles, but it runs like, it's I can't remember the octane, it's pretty high. So anyway, your exhaust tip would be white and everything from like the burning different, I guess at different temperatures. But anyway, so I'm like, why am I gonna throw this away? Like it's still good. So I was just putting it in my 4-wheeler and like lawnmower and stuff, like, because I was at that time I was cutting grass too. Like I had a lawn service ever since I was a kid. Like I cut grass as a side hustle. My dad always told me, if you ever want to have stuff in life, you got to work for it, and that's one of the first things he taught me how to do is cut grass. And from the time I was 4, maybe even younger than that, I have a picture, like I posted on my Facebook. If you follow me on Facebook, I've posted a picture of me pushing my mom's pushing the lawnmower. It's like a push mower. My mom's pushing the lawnmower from the top, and I'm pushing it from the bottom little push bar on the push mower, because there's 2 bars. So anyway, like I've always cut grass as a side hustle to do that, or to have like just he's always told me as well, like never rely on one source of income, like always like have something else going on. So if you ever do get fired, like you're like, okay,
something to fall back
yeah,
on.
I'm okay, I can cut grass. It's not nearly as much money as I was making, but it's still some sort of income, and you can bring your spending back and still survive. Anyway, I got fired, and my plan was to move. Before I got fired, I was going to do the whole move after, like, using my vacation and everything like that. But when I got fired, I'm like, man, what am I going to do now? Luckily, as bad as it may sound, I was still living with my parents, but I had a bigger picture for that as well. I was all about saving as much money as I could, and I've always had like a really good relationship with my parents. Some people like don't at all. Like when they turn 16, they're like, I can't wait to get out of my house. Like I'm gone. Like as soon as I can, I'm leaving this place. I've just always had like, and you probably, if you follow me on Facebook, social media, you probably see me spending a lot of time with my family. Every time we get a chance, like I go back and see them, or like we take a trip somewhere, or like a lot of quote unquote family reunions. But anyway, I always got along really good with my parents, and I'm like, why would I want to move out? Like I get along with them. It's a good environment, and I was just paying my mom like, I don't know, $300 or $400 a month in rent, like just to help out or whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I was staying with them, and I was just rat pulling all my money.
How old are you at the time?
So this was 30. Which,
because people are going to cloud you. Let's throw it out there. You're 30, still living with your parents.
Exactly.
But you have the plan. Yeah. That's the thing people don't see is you were doing this for a reason, to work out this long-term plan.
Right, exactly. So that's another thing in my bigger picture. Obviously, I could have moved out if I wanted to, but my mindset is like, why am I going to move out, increase my rent to $700 or $1,000 a month when I can, and I don't even know who I'm giving that money to. I overthink finances sometimes, like even helping other people, and so I'm like, I would rather pay my parents rent money and it be going back into my family or somebody I know, than be moving out and giving it to somebody that I don't know, when I'm perfectly happy with just having a bedroom and at my parents' house. So
because not only are you saving yourself money, making yourself better, but you're helping your parents out. You're doing things around the house, like you're making their life better, helping with that.
Yeah, and giving them money. Like my mom's like always, like she was retired. Like she had an accident at work, and she hurt her neck, and so she wasn't able to work. She's always been on what is it, Medicare or something like that. So anyway, so she's really limited on income. So that extra $400 a month for her to spend or whatever is like good spending money for. But anyway, so but my bigger picture was, if I was saving all my money at that time. Growing up, I knew how to save money, but it was always to blow it. Like I was like, if I can save up to this $5,000 and I can buy me some new wheels. Like what am I gonna spend this on? But I knew how to save money, but I didn't know the difference between an asset and a liability. And if you don't know the difference between those, I would suggest you looking it up as fast as possible. So but you want to have more assets than you do liabilities, and you need to distinguish what the difference between the two is. Anyway, so I knew it was always better to have more money than not to have enough. Like, so I knew that. I didn't know exactly what I was going to do with it, but I think I had, what did I have saved up? I think I had like $22,000 or something like that saved up, which at my...
It's a great point, because everybody thinks, one, either your parents funded you, or the companies funded you, or what's the rumor that oh, you don't own Down4Sound, Scotty owns Down4Sound, Jake owns Down4Sound. These companies just fronting you and
yeah, like that's another good rumor that we need to discuss, like because it comes up a lot. Like I guess people, the only thing I can come up with is people are trying to validate their inaction or them not being able to get to where they want to be at in life, so they try to come up with a reason why I was able to get here and they're not able to get like to wherever it is they're wanting to be.
Because so many people don't have good financial sense, and they can't fathom. Like you're saying you had 22,000 saved up. I'm sure there's people who are like they can't understand that. Like, how do you do that? Well, you must have been doing something. You must have been cheating in some form because they don't know how to do it.
Exactly, and that really kind of like comes down to you're not taught like money sense in school enough. Like if you're lucky, they briefly go over a budget. Like if you're lucky, but they don't go over you needing to say you need to. Like I can give you 3 tips right now, super easy. You need to learn how to obviously make money. You need to learn how to make as much money as possible. You need to learn how to save money, and then you need to learn how to invest it so it makes you more money. Because I know people will say like you'll have always the argument of money's the root of all evil, or like money's like having money's not the answer to everything. Whatever, like I've never heard a person with money say that statement. Like it's always from a broke person that doesn't have any money and they have a lot of financial problems. Like they're typically or 99% of the time they're the ones saying that. So
and it's always somebody else's fault too. The reason they're having financial problems is somebody else's fault.
Take responsibility. That's something I had to work on with myself. Like I wasn't ever really bad about pointing the finger, but I still did it. And the time that I came.
What's the bus for the bathrooms and men's bathroom?
1285 pound.
1285. Back to our scheduled program.
We'll edit that.
Yeah, but anyway, as soon as I started pointing the finger at myself, even if something didn't look like it could be my fault, or like I could easily blame it on something else, when I started like making it my fault, no matter if it really maybe not, it wasn't, I started excelling more and faster. But anyway, like getting to the back to the story. So I had like $22,000 saved up at the time, and I'm like, okay, I need to take something. If I'm going to do this car audio sales thing, I need to take some amount and invest it into something that I knew, and just take the leap. And at that time, so I think I got fired in towards the end of July. So look, like going back to the previous year, I'm like, what happened last year at the end of the year? Like, what do I need to be prepared for? And I remember the prior year, I'm like, oh well, Black Friday like started, and like the holidays are coming up, so okay, I need to get prepared for this. How do I do that? So I'm like, okay, I need to take some money and stock some product, because like y'all had like a big build time at the time, because the demand for Sundown was like growing like crazy, and they didn't have enough staff at the time, so it was very difficult for them to keep up with demand.
I'll admit we weren't prepared for the amount of sales, and we predicted one level and then it went here. Yeah. It's like, oh my god, now we're playing catch up, and it took us a while to get up to where we're at now to catch up.
Right. So I'm like I knew at that time that if I had stuff in stock, because I was losing sales at that time because I wasn't stocking stuff. I was scared to stock stuff because I was like, what if I'm never able to sell this stuff? Like I remember the first Crescendo as well was one of the Crescendo was like the first company that I actually made a buy-in with, like that I actually did a buy-in of, like, I don't know, I think it was like $2,000. I was sweating bullets with that $2,000 investment, man. I was like, I remember the video is still on YouTube. You can go check it out. Like, I got that product, and it was, or it may have been $3,000, but anyway, I had this little 10x10 storage unit, and I'm sitting there, and I had this little bit of product on it. They were like, guys, man, I need y'all's help, man. I need, can y'all help me sell it? I need to make these sales, man. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make it. And anyway, so that's how I started with that. But I knew Sundown, like the demand for Sundown was like way bigger than Crescendo. So I'm like, okay, I need to see what I've been selling the most of with Sundown, what's been the hottest stuff, like what I've been losing sales on for not having stuff in stock. So whatever it might have been at the time, like X's and ZV4s or whatever it was.
Because people want that instant gratification. They want to buy something and get it immediately.
Exactly. And so whatever, I can't remember the spread of what it was, but like Derek was saying, up until that time, like it was just randomly I would send order over. Or I think I was using y'all's cart system at that time. Like maybe once, at best, like once a month, I was sending a sale over to them to drop ship. And here I come, like I think I called Debbie on the phone. And I'm like, or no, I sent her an email. And
let me add something. I used to laugh because we would get some dealers that would call and complain like, JP's taking all our sales, and they're like, no, no, he's not. No, I can promise you, like, I'm not gonna get into it, but he's not taking your sales. He's not who you have to worry about.
I knew what I had to do, so I emailed Debbie, and I'm like, how do I place like a bigger order, because I don't know if like the cart system, like I didn't understand how it would work for like a bigger order or whatever, or if you had to email a bigger order in. So I emailed her. I'm like, who do I need to send like a bigger stocking order? And she's like, oh, you can just send it to me. So I sent her, like, I think at the time it was like equivalent of like $12,000 or $15,000 worth of stuff, which at that time, like when you only have $20,000 and you invest 75% of it, you're sweating bullets. Like, yeah, you're like,
that's a big leap.
So I'm like, but I knew it was what I had to do, and I like, fear is something that'll kill you every time. So, and I knew that, and I'm like, at the end of the day, like if this doesn't work out, like I'm still able to live with my parents. They're not gonna kick me out. Like, and I'm not flat broke. I still have like $5,000 or whatever. So anyway, so I sent the order over to Debbie, and she calls me. She's like, JP, and she called me JP from the first. Like, she's never called me Jonathan. She's like, JP, and I'm like, yes, ma'am. She said, did you just send this like email over, or I'm just making sure it's not a scam or fraud or somebody.
Is this right?
Yeah, she's like, is this right? And I'm like, yes, ma'am. She's like, oh, okay. Like I could tell she was wondering if I was going to be able to afford it, like, because I'd never placed an order like that.
Like, it was like a little mini event here. Like, everybody, this just happened. Like, wait a minute, what's going on? Is this real? Somebody talk to him now. Like, we gotta figure this out. Yeah.
So they called me almost immediately because I think they thought it was a scam, or somebody like hacked my like account and was trying to get a bunch of products shipped. But anyway, so she called and she's like, "Did you mean to make this? Did you make this order?" I'm like, "Yes, ma'am." And she's like, "Oh, okay." And I just told her the story real quick. I got fired, and I have to do something. So like, I know the holidays are coming up, so I'm just trying to capitalize on that. She's like, all right, like, well, you can send like a check for whatever it is. Like, I think it ended up, by the time she like gave me, like, y'all were running a deal on some subs or whatever. She's like, if you can, like, we got these at this good price for Black Friday, blah blah blah. And she like talked me into. Now I let her do it like for like fun, like, because it makes her feel good to like upsell me. But like at that time, it ended up being like $17.5. Like, but like by the time she's like, yeah, you need to get these. They're a good seller, and we're running a good deal on them. So I was like, okay, I'll take them. Like, I'll take them. And then like she told me it was like $17.5. Like, oh man, like, all right, I'm gonna do it. So anyway, I sent her that, and she sent me the product, or y'all sent me the product, and it wasn't. I think so. It was the end of July when I ordered that, and then when is Black Friday? Like 4 weeks later, or 6 weeks, or 8 weeks, or whatever. But
it's always right after Thanksgiving, the Friday after Thanksgiving.
So whenever the product showed up, and then so the product showed up, and then like the Black Friday sales like hit, and like, man, I sold that stuff so fast. I was like, holy crap! And I was getting sales from, like, I was getting new customers from people that typically bought from company A or company B, because they weren't stocking stuff either. So they're like, that was the first question when people would email me or whatever. They would ask, do you have this in stock? Because I already have the order in with company A, but if you have it in stock, I'll cancel my order with them and like get it from you. I'm like, yeah, I got it in stock. Bam! Like, I'd make that sound like, holy crap, man! Like it's starting to make sense. Like it's really beneficial to stock product, and even to this day, you see my warehouse now. Like that's why I have so much product in stock, because people, like, it's the day and age we live in with Amazon spoiling everybody. Like, you're able to get stuff so fast, so like that's why I have to make sure I'm doing everything that I can to make sure my customers get it as fast as possible. But
and our best dealers are the stocking dealers, the ones that place the orders, have the stuff there to give their customers the instant gratification. We get other calls from smaller dealers that for whatever reason don't want to invest the money, don't want to stock, and every time it's, hey, I need this right away, I need this right away, can you get it shipped out right now, I need this right away. And it's like, if you stocked it, this is what you could have already handed it to the customer.
Right. And a lot of times, like, you'll lose sales like that because the customers will get tired of waiting, and then like that's costing you even more money. So that's another reason why I started stocking more and more stuff. Anyway, so it just kind of snowballed from there. Like I ended up filling up that 10x10 storage unit when it got closer, so I immediately reinvested like all the money that I made. I called y'all right back. I'm like, I need to place another restocking order, so I did that. And when I got that in, I'm like, crap, I don't have enough room for it. Like, if you've been following me for a while on Facebook or whatever, like, you've seen the pictures of me. I had this stuff shoved up in my parents' attic. I had it. My dad had like a small storage unit or storage room in the backyard. I had stuff shoved in there. Like, I had product everywhere. Like, anywhere I could. Like, I was investing it all back in. So anyway, I ended up getting, like, before I moved to Las Vegas, I had a 10x10 storage unit, a 10x15, a 10x10, and then my dad had this brand new shed built in the backyard that was like I think like 10x20 or something like that. And I'm like, can I store a little bit of product in there for the time being?
And they're next to the lawnmower.
Exactly. But and he's like, yeah, you can have this side over here. I'm like, all right. And then, like, he wasn't going out there because it was winter time, and he wasn't using the lawnmower or whatever. So he ends up going out there when I have product shoved to the brim. Like, this whole thing is packed so full of product, he can't even step in his own shed. And he's like, shit, boy, what are you doing? And I'm like, but that's when I knew, like, I had the vision in my head. Like, I knew, like, this was the path that I had to go down. But anyway, so we made it through that that holiday season, and I'm like, man, like, I could really start, like, doing sales or whatever. So that year, I think I ended up doing, like, so the prior year I did like 7,000 that I was telling you about, and then that year I think I did like 52. Like, so it jumped drastically. It's still not like a huge amount of sales, and especially now, like because I literally just gave them a check for $63,000 today for like a buy-in. Like, that's the type of buy-in, or not buy-ins, but restock orders that I do now. So but anyway, so that should give you the perspective of looking as far down the road as you can, with not having your fog lights on, like when you're trying to see your bigger 5 and 10 year plans. So just making sure you're looking as far down the road as possible, because maybe what you're making right now in a day, you can, or in a, like, what you're making in a week, you could be making in a day or an hour or a minute. Like, because there's people out there that are making these insane amounts of money, and so it is possible. You see, like, owners of Starbucks or Krispy Kreme or whatever, like, you can go to like Google and type it in, and there's money counters on these people, how much money they're making in seconds or minutes or whatever it may be. So it's not impossible. It's just like a lot of us, like the way that we're conditioned as we grow up or whatever.
First, you have to understand it's not going to happen overnight. This isn't the lottery. This is something you're going to work for, build up, have a long-term plan. Mm-hmm. Sundown didn't get as big as it is overnight.
For sure.
And I've realized, people don't understand how big Sundown is.
Right.
They still, like, until I started doing some of the meet the staff interviews, people didn't even think we had employees or something. Now all of a sudden people are like, wait, people work there? Well, I want to work there too. And we had this flood of people like, hey, can I come work there too? Like, what y'all think, we didn't have employees here?
Jake was running everything.
They didn't realize, like,
Jake, Derek, and Brandon, this 3-man show, doing all this stuff.
Yeah, we got several employees. This is a pretty big place.
So how many are y'all at now? 15 or 17?
Last count was 15. We just added 2 more and lost 1, so I don't know if we're at 15, 16, somewhere around there. Okay. At least 15, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah. So like, just keep your eyes open on like a possible bigger, or the bigger picture that is always there. It's just how big that you can picture it. But anyway, so that's what I did when I moved. So I made it through the first Black Friday sale, like a holiday sale or whatever, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna move on January the 31st or whatever date this said. I'm like, so I need to start coordinating with y'all shipping my restock shipments out to somewhere in Vegas. So I had to coordinate all that. So when I moved to Vegas, I went to I think I went out for CES or SEMA, and I was like, okay, I need to start looking for a place to store this stuff. Oh, it's CES, because that's in January or whatever. So I'm like, I need to start looking for a place to store all my stuff at. So at that time, I still had a small picture in my head. I'm like, I don't even need to be looking for an office or a warehouse. I just need like some bigger storage units. So I got two 10 by 25 storage units. So that would give me 500 square feet of space. So by the time I moved out there, I had like my pallets shipped to like a friend out there, and he was holding them, got them all moved into the space, and I still had like a decent amount of room, but within like 3 months I was maxed out, like in that I just made a sale. Let's see what it is. $57 just sitting here. So this is like another thing, like you put in all this work over a long amount of time, and you can be sitting here doing this, or out with your friends, or sleeping, and you wake up and you're like, oh, I made $2,000 like while I was asleep.
You can get your money counter dinging away how much money you're making.
Right. So but anyway, well, I got two 10 by 25s, and within 3 months I had that filled up, and then I went to I started storing stuff at my girlfriend. I'm still staying with my girlfriend or whatever, but anyway, I started filling up the garage with all the product. Made her start parking out in the street, and I was parking in the street. Anyway, so like everything was filled up, and I'm like, man, I need more space. So I started looking for. I'm like, okay, if I have 500 square feet now, if I get like 1,500 square feet, that'll last me for a long time. Like that's 3 times as much room as I have right now, so yeah, that'll last me for a long time. So I started looking for other warehouses, or an actual office with some warehouse space. I'm like, okay, I can put my Tahoe in there, I can put like a decent amount of products in there, it'll last me for a long time. And I started talking to, I can't remember if I talked to Jacob, but I know I talked to Scotty at Sundown, Scotty, there we go, with who owns what. Yeah, Scotty at Excess Power, and which is, he's always, him and Jacob, to touch on this really quick, it's really important to find mentors in your life, especially people that have been down the road before, and knowing when to shut your mouth. Like that's I can't emphasize that enough. Like people want to talk so much, especially when they're talking to people that have so much to offer them that's invaluable. Like yeah, Jacob and Scotty, these guys have been down this road tons of times before, so they can save you, if you listen, they can save you so much time, so much headache, so much money. It's unreal. But anyway, so I was talking to Scotty, I think, and I'm like, yeah, I'm looking at like 1,500 square feet. Like, what do you think? He's like, man, I see how you're growing, man. Like, I think you should do double that. I'm like, double that? Holy hell! Like, there's no way. Like, I just couldn't see it. Like, it was such a big picture at the time. Like, there's no way that like I can't afford that. It's going from, I think the storage units were like $250 a month or something like that, and the rent on the 3,000 square foot place that I found was going to be like $2,100. So yeah, 10 folding what I was used to paying in rent, and I'm just like, I can't see this. Like there's no way that I can make.
But at the same time, it's that leap you had to make in the beginning, where you had to take 75% of what you saved up and just put it in and say you're going to do it. Here you are, making that leap again.
Right, exactly. So, and this happens like so much, and this is I'm a big proponent to telling people like living 2 to 3 years behind what you're actually bringing in, and this is a big reason why. If I was to have increased my spending, but I'm like a minimalist when it comes to things like I wear like, I mean, this is probably the nicest shirt I own right now, and it was like I don't know how much it was, but it's a Down4Sound shirt. But I wear like $15 like Bugle Boy cargo shorts from like Sam's Club.
Yeah.
I'm just and my shoes got holes in them.
I feel you. I wear basic Dickie shorts every day. Some simple T-shirts.
Right. So I'm just like more of
a few dollars.
Yeah, I'm just more of a minimalist. Like when it comes to actual things that like people that I need, like shoes, and like if it works, like these shorts are perfectly fine. I don't need like a $200 pair of shorts or $500 jeans or whatever. But anyway, so I never have increased my spending with the amount of revenue or sales that I was doing, and this is a good reason why. Because if I would have always done that, I would have never been able to like pay the money. One, I wouldn't have had the money to do the initial buy-in. Two, I wouldn't, especially when I went to go into that 3,000 square foot place, like, cause I think I had to pay 2 months in advance, so it ended up being like around $6,000 down or whatever to do that. So that, and while still trying to bring in good amounts of inventory, so I wasn't going to be running out. So anyway, I found that, and it was a really hard pill for me to swallow, to like take that leap, because it was so hard for me to say. I'm like, man, this is so much money just in rent. Like, it's just. But
at the same time, you've only made it through the Black Friday sale and the holiday season, and you've already grown so much. Like, things are going out of control for you.
Right. So, and that's another thing that I'm trying to like.
Let's pause for a second. If y'all can hear this on camera, it's the Friday night before Sundown show. We're doing this. There's basically a huge party going on here at the shop, demoing everywhere. So that's why there might be some.
That's the vibrating walls we got. But yeah, so that like sometimes like you can't see that like really big picture of like what's really going on. So at that time, like, man, that's so much money in rent. Like, this is just, in my mind, I'm like, this is just wasted money. Like, I'm just throwing this money away. Because you don't own something you're renting, like a place you're renting, you don't own that. So I'm just blowing this money into the wind. Like, this is such a waste of money. But finally, like, I came to my senses and like went ahead and made the deal or whatever. So they made me sign a 2.5-year contract. Like, I was trying to get a 1 year, because I don't, like, with my company growing, I don't know how long I really need to be here. So I need to do a 1 year, and they're like, no, we don't want to do that, because like people that rent you places, especially warehouse space, they want to have you committed for like 3 to 5 or 10 years. Like, they want you to be there for a while. And I'm like, I just don't want to do that, because I don't know how long I need such a small place.
We're about to get interrupted.
Anyway, we're doing an interview, bro.
What's up, Scotty?
I found where the cool.
We were just talking about you.
Are you doing a live interview for real?
It's not live. We're just videoing. I can edit it. Oh, it's cool.
I saw your head sticking up through there. I was like, where are the cool kids hanging out?
They're probably all back in the build room, actually. I know I was just seeing Jake. Yeah. If you go through there, keep going straight back to the next set of double doors, you're running into them. Okay.
I was just telling them about like having good mentors and people that have been there and done it, and you're one of the ones that you and Jacob, that you can learn a lot from people that's already been there and done it. So nice. just know when to shut your mouth and listen.
That's right. I do a lot of listening. See you guys.
All right. But yeah, so I'm
gonna leave all that in.
Yeah. It's funny how that just worked. Like, we were just talking about it, and he just pops in out of nowhere from Knoxville. But anyway, so I made that leap, and with Scotty's better judgment, like, he talked me into it. He told me that he had no doubt that it was a good direction to go. So anyway, I did that, and started making. Obviously, sales are increasing. I'm working harder. I'm putting more ads, or I'm like advertising more. I'm doing more product reviews, like leveraging my YouTube channel, like doing more product reviews on the channel, doing more on my Facebook page. All while these are growing, like side by side, like Facebook community's growing on Down4Sound page, and my YouTube's growing. So these are all things that I have going on at one time.
It gets busy.
Yeah, so I'm juggling all these things, and then like also juggling like having a business that I'm having to run as well, and I'm the only person there. I'm shipping, like I'm taking orders, like I'm doing customer service, everything like that. Anyway, time keeps going on, and we get towards the end of that year, and I'm like, man, I can't take off, because like, so if I take off, like, it's always been my goal to have my products get out as fast as possible. because I know it's huge in this day and age to ship people stuff as fast as possible. So I didn't want to take off to go to any shows or anything like that because
you have to shut down your business to do it.
Precisely. So anyway, that's how I like came across like Keith, my box builder. You guys, you probably know him. Like he knocks out beautiful enclosures now. But
yes.
I ended up bringing him onto the team. But he was a customer of mine, actually a fan of mine. And then he it's pretty funny. But he was like, you talking about like people putting people up like on pedestals and stuff. They see people on YouTube and everything. He'd been watching me on YouTube for a while, and I saw an order come in, and I looked at the address, and it said Las Vegas, and I'm like, oh, cool. Let me like Google where it is, and I got directions. It was like half a mile from my warehouse. I'm like, what's the chances of that? So anyway, I call him up. I'm like, hey, noticed you placed an order, and I can bring it over if you want me to. And he's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, I'm just like right down the street. My place is right down the street. He's like, oh, where at? And I told him. He's like, oh, I'll just cruise over there. And he was literally so starstruck when he saw me. Like, he could barely talk, and he was like, I'll just leave it at that. He was just like, just totally starstruck.
We still get that here on occasion. Somebody shows up, and they're just like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm here. It's
right.
Down. It's Jacob. Oh.
Yep. So
I'm not that famous yet.
Yeah. He's working on it, though. But anyway, so he's all starstruck with it. Before he leaves, he's like, man, if you ever need any help, man, like just let me know. I'm just right down the street. I'm bored. Like, I don't have anything going on after I get off work, so just let me know if I can help. And at that time, I was like, I'm never gonna hire anybody. I'm always gonna do stuff myself, like because nobody's gonna work as hard as me. Nobody's gonna care about my business like I do. So it's always just gonna be me for that reason. Like I'm in total control. Which another is a small mindset that I got like humbled on. And that's the wrong mindset to have. You have to have help to grow. But
I think Jake went through that same thing in the beginning when he was doing it all by himself, and then finally realized he had to bring somebody else on.
Mm-hmm.
And because I know he still did all the shipping before I came on board.
Mm-hmm.
He still did almost every bit of it, and then I came on board, and he had a lot of trouble letting that go.
Yeah.
And we had to have like discussions. Like I had to tell Jake, like, dude, you got to back off. Like,
yeah.
And what I actually said to him when we talked, I'm like, look, you either got to trust me, let me succeed or fail. But you just got to trust me. You let go. You go to the office, do your thing. I got you out here.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Jake went through that same thing with having the trust and bringing more people on and letting go and letting other people handle it for him. And
right.
It's worked out well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and I know you're going to go through different people that don't fit the mold and everything like that. But that's part of it as well. But anyway, so he told me that, and I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, I just took it with a grain of salt and like went on about my business. And then like a couple weeks later, I get another order from him, and I'm like, oh, is he gonna like come back and pick it up? And sure enough, he like calls. He's like, hey, you mind if I just swing by and pick it up? And I'm like, yeah, sure, man. It saves me shipping. Come on through. And so anyway, he comes by, and when he's leaving, he's like, yeah, man, I'm still bored. If you ever need any help, just let me know. So I can't remember what holiday was coming up, but I was wanting to leave, and I'm like, well, if I'm wanting to leave, like I need to get something in place to where the business still runs while I'm gone. And anyway, so I had him. I called him up. I'm like, hey, man, like if you could come by and check out, like see how we do things, or we see how I do things, or whatever, so you can be on the same page. Anyway, he came in, and like I started like teaching him how to do processing orders and stuff like that, and how to ship stuff correctly, like where it's packaged well, and then that like so he would always, so he works at his full-time job from I think like 5 a.m. to 3, and then like he works like Down4Sound. He still works at his other place, but the box building is becoming so huge. Like I don't know how much longer he's going to be doing his other job before he comes to do enclosure building full time. Like because I don't know, we probably have a steady backlog of 15 enclosures for him to build. So it's like it's on the threshold of him like needing to do it full time or whatever. But anyway, so that was the next step. Was getting him to come on so I could leave and like go to events or whatever. And after that, like time went on, and then we when I was gone, he would be there shipping stuff, and like he was working so many hours now that he wasn't able to spend time with his wife Barbara. Like so anyway, she would come up there and help.
Also works for you,
right? So she works like full time for me. So she was working or I call it, it was full time for her, but I call it part time. Like she was working at a daycare for I think 18 years, and they wouldn't ever let her get over 30 hours a week. So that's another thing. Like people will get comfortable and like settle for like what they're getting, and that's just the way it is. Anyway, so she had more time on her hands than he did. So in order for them to spend time together, she would come up to Down4Sound and like watch him process orders or help him pull stuff and stuff like that. And with the demand growing for the enclosures, Keith was not able to do shipping anymore because he was steadily building boxes. So anyway, I told her, I was like, if you want to like come and like I'll teach you, like make sure you know the way that I'm doing things and make sure you're on the same page. So fast forward, like ended up hiring her. She was my first full-time employee, and I got a good one, man. She like I would put her up against anybody, like working like anytime I tell her to come in, it is 2:30 in the morning, 3:30 in the morning. Like if there's work to be done, like she's there. She says yes, like she's a yes person. Like so, she's been a huge asset to growing Down4Sound to what it is now, and definitely could have done it without her because I've been able to make it to a ton of shows now. Keith builds the enclosures. She takes care of things while I'm gone. Like she understands what the Down4Sound difference is, like how important it is to get all the orders out, and, like get back with customers and everything like that. So
she's somebody that makes you a lot of money.
Exactly.
Regardless of where you say, well, this is a burden of her salary, but she's going to make you more money than what she costs to be there. And that's advice I try and give people, especially when they're pulling we y'all hiring. If you want to be a good employee, you have to understand that you have to make the company money. You know, you're not here as an employee to draw a check. To you know, you're a burden at that point. We're just having to pay you. As a good employee, you should know and be able to make that company more money than you cost them.
Precisely. That's very important.
And the more money you make the company in a good company, which this one is, the more money that company will in turn pay you.
Right.
And that's the way you grow yourself as a good employee.
Exactly. So, and that was another thing that she had to do. And I told her like when I first hired her, because I didn't know the whole fear thing. Because when hiring somebody full time, like that's a big step. Your first full time person, because you're like, crap, how am I going to afford that? Like, how long am I going to be able to do that? And is the business going to keep growing the way that it is, or is it going to go down, or whatever? But anyway, so that like, the bigger that I grow, the more serious I take my business and the harder I work, because I know it's not only me that's depending on this to happen, it's everybody else that's in the Down4Sound like family is relying on this income. So it has to happen. But anyway, so yeah, she was used to working 30 hours a week, and at that time I'm like, okay, your hours are going to be, I think so my mindset was come in late, be able to get all the orders out and drop off as late as possible or whatever. So I'm like, I think it was like from 10 to 6, or 8 hours, I don't know. Anyway, so I was like 40 hours, I'll get you 40 hours a week or whatever. But if it keeps growing the way that it is, you'll probably be working a lot more hours. Like, so I need to make sure you're okay with that and you understand that from the jump, because it's probably going to turn into a lot of hours. And boy, did it turn into a lot of hours. Yeah. She's like, for instance, fast forward until last Black Friday event and this tax season, or last tax season or whatever, I told her she could work as many hours as she could, like, to try to keep up with demand. There was some weeks that she had, and this was something that I made a deal with her, because with her being a minimal income person for so long, she had incurred a lot of credit card debt and stuff like that. So, and I had been there before, and like my boss at my other job had let me work a lot of overtime or whatever if I wanted to. So I told her, I was like, I'll let you work as many hours as you want to, so it'll help you like pay like that down, but eventually we'll have to hire some other people or whatever, but I'll make that commitment to you to let you be able to work a ton of hours, when I could have essentially 2 more employees. Like with her working 100 hours a week, that's easily 1 more employee and another part-time employee.
And it's not always easy to find those good employees. Like you got a good one. Mm-hmm. We every now and then we bring somebody on, and it's like, okay, this person ain't gonna work. Right. And when we first moved in this building years ago, we were in a big growing phase. Mm-hmm. We moved over here, we got in the huge facility, we needed a space, I remember I was working 7 days a week trying to keep up. And that's the time when our build log was getting behind. We're struggling trying to keep up, getting subs built fast enough, and I was in here 7 days a week pushing, trying to make everything better for the dealers, for the customers. And it's tough finding people that have that level of commitment that will do that stuff for you.
Right. Yeah, that's for sure. So that's kind of like the growth pattern of like where it started and like where it's become. Well, you guys are probably seeing if you've been following. If not, a year.
They're your only 2 employees right now.
Right. Yeah. So I'm gonna be looking. I mean, in my head, it's another fear thing, but I'm like, another thing is like not growing above your means too fast. So you don't want to be, because obviously your biggest cost is your labor. So you don't want to be over labored because it eats up your profit margin really fast. So I'm more of like seeing how much I can like maximizing what I do have versus piling on a ton of more people and like have a bunch of people like like. So anyway, but I am like pretty certain like within the next 2 to 4 weeks or so I'm gonna be looking for another like Barbara pretty much. So that would be a huge.
I'm gonna put this video up. You're about to get flooded with emails, messages, everything.
So you have to be in the Las Vegas area, so that'll cut a bunch of that out. I know people will say I'll move from Antarctica to come work for you, but it's just logistically it's not something that makes sense just for a shipping job. So, but anyway, that's where it's at now. So again, I signed that 2.5 year lease with the place that I was at for the first place, the 3,000 square feet, and then I went to the second place a year ago. Something. No, it was like last November.
Yeah, you got a huge facility now. How big is your place?
It's 10,000 square feet now, which that jump was like that was the one that like it took a lot of like laying in bed thinking, is this gonna work? Like, is this really the next step? Like trying to crunch the numbers, and some things in life like you can't make sense of like financially. You just have to know that that's the next step, and like you have to take the leap. So anyway, so that like to go from the other one was around $2,000 a month, and to go to what it is now, which is like right around $10,000 a month operating cost, is like a big step. Like yes. For like that's a huge cost to a company, and then like you're getting more employees, so like your revenue's growing, but it's like everybody's heard the saying, the more you make, the more it takes. Like it's ever so true. So yeah, we're making more money, but like the more money that's going out is just at an all-time high as well. But I'm definitely grateful to be where I am today, and I know I couldn't like have it without all of your support, all my supporters and fans, friends, like everybody that supported me to get to where I am. And luckily, like so many people have my back and like help me get to where I am. So I always put that out there, that like how grateful I am. And even with small stuff, like I'm kind of, I don't know what the right word would be, but maybe kind of weird. Like I do a lot of business with Sundown Audio, but I like, in order to show appreciation to what they've done for me, like I'll randomly like send them pizza, or like today when I came, like, or when I come out for the Sundown show, like
today it was catered barbecue.
Yeah, catered barbecue for all the employees.
Much appreciated.
So it's just something that I try to do, like just to let like them know, and I do it for some other companies too, but yeah, just to let them know like that I really do appreciate the relationship we have. And like, and
we get little care packages with like t-shirts and things like that JP likes to send. Right.
So it's just like something that I'm like, because I know like people just get in this rut of doing business a certain way, like you're transferring money and product, and it's monotonous. Like it's no different. But if you can like throw something in there every now and then, like some good eats or whatever it may be, or like for Christmas, like I'll send them like some gift certificates or whatever it may be. But I always try to think about people and the people that have helped me get to where I am, because
throw in those freebies.
Right, exactly. The same thing like in that too, with like the products that I sell, like something that haters like hate too. They're like, I don't care about the damn freebies that he throws in there. I just want a cheaper price. But I already offer the lowest price like allowable. But I'm like throwing you a T-shirt and sticker, lanyard, whatever it may be. Just yeah, on a dum-dum, right? But it's just my way of showing like my appreciation to people in small areas. I know it's not huge, but when nobody else is doing it, like, why not?
Correct. You got some people that they're gonna hate no matter what, so they're gonna look at it and be pissy about it. But then you got other people that, if that's all they got was that dumb sucker, that's gonna mean the world to them. Oh, because that's that extra special little thing. And the way, see if you still do this. Do you still sign all the invoices?
Yeah, as many as I can. Like if I'm in town, like I'll definitely like. Sometimes I come back and there's like.
So sometimes you do get busy.
Yeah, well, if I'm out of town, like because I was in the Bahamas for 5 days or whatever, so I don't want her holding invoices, like not shipping orders while I'm gone. Where so
priority is always going to be get the product out fast.
Exactly. So, but if she does, like Barbara will sign them. Like I do tell her like it is very important to like sign these invoices, like if all possible. Like we want to get the products out, but we want to make sure that they're signed or whatever. Just. Another thing that adds like that personal touch, like letting you guys know we really appreciate your business and support, because I know like I couldn't be where I am today without you guys' support. So I think that covers like pretty much the story of how like Down4Sound.
We've definitely got your life event from first time hearing bass to bam, here you are.
Yeah. So yeah, it's exciting. It's a lot of. First, like a lot of things like I never thought I would be able to do, and it's I think another thing that I want to put out there is it's really important to have like good relationships with people, like companies like with Sundown and all the employees or whatever. Like I can message them, like I just try to treat people like how I want to be treated. So it's really important to have good relationships, because if you just treat a person like, granted Sundown's a company and you're like you do business with them, like you're not really, I don't think
we're people too.
Right,
we're
exactly.
People too. We live lives.
But people think like just because you're doing business with this company that you just send them, you're paying them this money, like they give you the product and that's it. Like you don't have any type of relationship there. You're just transferring money and product. But me, I'm more of like and you guys should know that, like I'm more of a people person. Like I go to these shows, like I talk to people, like I answer questions, and same thing with dealing with companies. Like I have more of a personal relationship with them. Like I come out to you guys shows and like I sit here and.
All right, we're back. We had a battery die, so we had to change that out real quick.
I didn't know it was gonna be such a long drawn out story,
yeah.
But I guess he's getting some good stuff. So you guys can, if you ever wondered about the life story.
The life of Price.
Yeah. Anyway, like going to the relationships things, I just think it's really important to have good relationships with people, because in my mindset, not only is it good to treat people like a person and like just the way that you want to be treated, is if you ever have a problem. Still recording?
Yes, good.
If you ever have a problem and you need some help, they'll be willing to help you out. Like if whatever happens, I drop the ball and forget to order something and don't have it in stock, they're more than likely they'll be there to help me out, to help me in the situation or whatever. Whereas if I'm not saying they're not going to help anybody else out, like if they run out of a product or whatever, but it makes it easier for people to do business together if you have good relationships. So yeah. All the companies that I deal with, like I just try to have good relationships with them. A lot of them, like the owners, like I stay at Scotty Johnson's house, like the owner's house, like the owner incriminator picked me up from the airport today, like, and like I'm always going to dinner with Jacob and he let me drive his car and all that stuff. So it's just a cool.
JP's the only dealer we have that I don't mind messaging me at all times of night.
And I do as well.
Yeah.
I try not to do it a ton, but there are times I'm like,
sometimes I know if I don't message, there's a 3-hour difference, and I'm in bed and my phone's dinging.
Yeah, so I try to not do it a ton, but sometimes I'm like, I know if I don't send this, I'm gonna forget about it. So at least it'll be there in the morning. But is there anything else on the list of?
No, we've covered about everything I wanted to, from the rumors to the story with the YouTube and the company and how everything got going. I'm good. I think we've got a.
You went too far off the. You went too far down the road.
Actually, I just wasn't expecting the store to be that big.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I thought I myself, and I don't even know you. I thought it would be a way simpler transition. I knew it took time, but there was a lot of little details that led to one thing after the other. And
yeah, I mean, there's probably been there's probably been a ton that's been left out, but as far and going back to the YouTube thing real quick, if you're wanting to do a YouTube, and I know one of the biggest questions that I have are rumors that comes up is YouTube pay. Like, people don't understand how the pay works, and the haters. Well, this is the only aspect of a hater where they're totally wrong, and I wish they weren't. Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, he's making millions, like, just from his YouTube channel. So the way that YouTube works, really quick, is you get 1 cent per 1,000 views is the base rate. So obviously, if somebody clicks on the ad or they watch the ad all the way through, you get a little bit more. If they click on the ad and view it, you get a little bit more. But it's still like cents. It's not big dollars that you're making. So anyway, my best year on YouTube was this was like when I was really full-time YouTube, or doing a video every day, like going to all these shows and everything like that. My best year on YouTube, I did like $86,000 in YouTube revenue, which is a lot of money for. So if you may be seeing like, holy crap, how does he make so much money on YouTube? But I know people that are making hundreds of thousands of dollars from YouTube, and there's few and far between though. It's like these people that have been doing it for a very long time, and this is what happens when you don't water the plant. Like, so I made that 86,000 was the most I've ever made on YouTube in a year. The following year, this is what happens when you have a business that's growing and you have a YouTube that you're trying to balance as well. When you start paying more attention to the business and you're not putting out as much content, your YouTube starts backsliding. Like, your revenue starts backsliding on your YouTube because you're not able to keep up with it. So the last year made $42,000 on YouTube, which was like this. So YouTube's backsliding, but Down4Sound grew exponentially in comparison. So I'm like, okay, it's not that big of a deal.
It's another decisions you have to make. Like, well, this company's making more, so that's where you gotta shift your eggs to that basket.
Right. So I'm like, I want to water this one because it's growing like crazy, and this one, if I can be watering it, and it's just kind of growing. So anyway, and this year, like, I'm on track to, I don't know, I think like right now I'm at like 21,000 for the year, and the year's close to being over. So I mean, I may finish at like 30,000, but which isn't bad at all. Like, I'm just trying to put the perspective out there of like, you have to continue to water something if you want it to grow.
If you want to be big on YouTube, it's a full-time job.
Right.
You have to put the work in. It's not going to do it by itself.
Yeah. So just take that into account. It's just like everything else in life. If you want it to grow, like, you have to babysit it and water it and make sure. So
and then maintain it, because as you're telling us now, if you don't maintain it and keep it at that level, it's going to fall off.
So you start falling off. So what I've done to remedy that is I've started recording more content, and now I have a guy that's helping me with my video edits. So I get the content and I send it over to him on I put it on a flash drive or a big one, whatever, a 1 terabyte drive. And every time I come back from a show, I send it over to him. You probably noticed that the quality of the videos have been way better than they ever have, because I'm pretty simple when it comes to video edits, but he's really good at like the cinematic stuff, like making the music overlay and the flow and transitions and everything. So that's been a huge help. And like, just looking at it earlier, like, or over the past month since he's been doing that, I've been like seeing it start bumping back up. So like, even though it's like costing me more than I'm making per day, like, I'm just trying to see the bigger picture of like making sure I have more content out there and everything like that. So it's going to be growing my YouTube and the exposure for Down4Sound. So that's what I've done or put in place to help make sure it grows.
At this point, you could almost bring on, like, you're bringing on your editing guy, but you could almost have a whole nother employee just to go shoot footage for you.
Yeah.
And if you where you could bring that YouTube back up and more than cover somebody else's salary.
Right, so that's what I've been thinking about as well, is like taking, like, just sacrificing the whole YouTube amount and actually having, it sounds weird, but having somebody follow me around with a camera, because it's called The Life of Price, so obviously there's a following there for people enjoy seeing what I do and like what all I have going on. So if I could have that being posted all the time in a cool version, and then me not have to worry about it, it would definitely be worth it. So
and you're not only going to get the YouTube revenue back up, but that's also a big advertisement way for the company, for Down4Sound. So it's also going to help with those Down4Sound sales, lifting them at the same time.
Exactly. So that's
a big double-edged sword there.
Right. So that's another reason why I've had like I was in that dilemma, because that was another thing I didn't want to let go of. I was like, I don't want anybody to mess with my YouTube. I want to be in full control of that. But anyway, so now that it's almost like when you test the waters and you're like, oh man, this is nice. Like, I don't have to think about it. Like, I just get this totally edited video, I just upload it. It's pretty nice. So it sometimes things don't make sense until you experience the convenience of the person doing it for you. So I'm like, man, I'm totally grateful that that's going on, because that's one less thing I have to think about, and I can focus on growing Down4Sound in the meantime while they're doing what they're good at.
Yeah, and I know I've seen kind of some background stuff with some of the bigger YouTube channels. What a lot of people don't realize is you might only see 1 or 2 people on camera. There's as many as 10 people behind the scenes.
Oh, yeah.
It's like filming a TV show now. Yeah. That's how popular YouTube has gotten. There's a whole crew behind the scenes helping to get this cinematic footage, to get everything just right, the lighting, the sound, everything perfect, and you don't even see that.
Right,
you think,
exactly.
This one person's there and they're doing all this great stuff, and you're like, no, that dude's got a whole team working with him.
Exactly.
So you mentioned like having somebody to follow you around, like, sounded weird. For a big YouTube channel, it's not that weird. So many of the big ones have not just one, but a team working behind the scenes, helping them.
Yeah, that is like an accurate thing, because the thing that's weird to me is when I'm interacting with fans, like, a lot of people want to be on YouTube and everything like that, and for me it would help in the aspect of if I wouldn't have to think of having to stop what I'm doing and like start doing some selfie recording, like, oh, we're here with Billy Bob at the Sundown show. Like, it gets kind of awkward. But if I had my cameraman like off to the side, like, people don't even pay him attention or whatever, but I had like a little microphone on or whatever, and he's over there, like, nobody's even paying him any attention, but he's shooting this footage, and I'm able to just be me and not even think about it. Is like, it would be a huge convenience. So it's definitely something that's been in my mind of having that done, and then also having somebody in house, like, doing cool product tour release videos and stuff like that with the boom bang pop pow, like, looks really cool and everything like that, instead of me just like, hey guys, here's the new Sundown U series.
Here's the amplifier.
Right.
This
so
is what it does.
It's just like the if you saw something like that on TV, like, you don't expect to ever see an ad that's just really plain. Like, you're so used to seeing these over the top ads or whatever. That's what people look for these days. So I think that's pretty much
do you want to talk any about the haters? So, do you want to address anything? Because to me, I'm just like, it's going to happen. They're going to be there. There's no way to get rid of them. It doesn't matter how good of a person you are, how nice of a person you are. Somewhere, somebody's going to hate your guts for no reason, just because.
Yeah, it's hard for me to grasp, because I'm more of I'm just I guess like a natural born lover of people doing well. Like, that's just my mindset. I don't know if it's like how my parents raised me or whatever, but it's hard for me to just get in that mindset of thinking how they think. Like, I'm like, why like, don't you have anything else going on? Or
people hate on, I know you make a lot of posts now about finances and financial things, and I understand, because I can relate. you're doing it to help other people understand and better themselves and do better. You want them to see and be able to do better. But then you got these other people who are like, how dare you want me to be a better person? How dare you want me to handle my finances better? And like, they're not getting it.
Yeah, people, I think the thing is, like, it kind of calls, like, I'm not directly calling anybody else out, but if it offends them, it's clear that they're
guilty.
Yeah, they're guilty of it. And that's the reason, like, I do it, like, the most of them is proving a valid point when I share it, but, like, financial free, I mean, I know you've heard this saying so many times, but financial freedom is a great thing. Like, money doesn't solve all your problems, but you've also heard that you would rather be crying in a McLaren or like a Lambo or whatever
yeah.
instead of crying on the side of the street with nothing. But anyway, my dad like always preached finances and stuff to me because he grew up poor. Like he was born in Germany and he came over. He's like my biggest inspiration. Like he came over from Germany when he was 6. And they didn't have anything. They lived in like Kentucky and like this shack in the middle of the woods, 1-room shack. There was 6 of, he had 5 brothers and sisters, and it was his mom and dad or my grandma and grandpa. Anyway, they lived in this 1-room shack in the middle of the woods, like dirt poor. Like, so that's what, and for my dad to come from like absolutely nothing, he was the only thing that I've changed from what my dad has taught me about money is he always taught me how to save money, but my dad's so, he's one of those, like I call him squeakers. He's so tight, like with his money, like just because he knew that he never had anything. So he's like, I don't want to be like that anymore.
Let it go.
Exactly. So, anyway, so that's something that I've changed because I don't want to die with a ton of money or be on my deathbed with $50 million in the bank and I haven't went and seen anything in the world or experienced anything, like, because I mean who knows what's going to happen tomorrow, like like anything can happen. So that I've been more obviously, like, I'm all about making more money, like increasing my revenue and everything like that, but I'm also like wanting to go see things, like go do things, experience things, because of that reason. If I'm like, if the plane crashes tomorrow when I'm all the way home or whatever, I mean, hopefully it doesn't, but you never know. But I'll know that I went and swam with the pigs in Bahamas or whatever. That's always something that was like a bucket list item. That and swimming with turtles in the ocean, like that was a bucket list item. Like just last week I knocked out like 3 bucket list items of mine. I'm like, man, it's so awesome.
It's so crazy. You go on your vacation, you're having fun, you post it online, and you're not making anybody following your pages, anything like that. But all of a sudden, here come the haters again. Like, how dare you have a good time? How dare you post these pictures? How dare you show us this stuff? Like,
exactly. Yeah, I don't get it. So I guess addressing the thing, like in the financial post, like the reason for my post, a lot of them are financial, because I think it's not talked about enough, and I think that's the reason why a lot of people are in financial troubles.
I totally agree.
Because nobody ever talks about it.
Classes in school about this, and like you with your dad teaching you things. My dad taught me a lot of things. He had a lot of little rules with money that he used, and nowadays I've learned. I see more, and I'm like, why don't they teach kids this in school? Why wasn't this a thing in high school?
Exactly.
You go through, you do all this stuff, and you get out, and kids have no idea how to handle their money.
Zero idea. And I think the bigger corporations, like in the elitists, they want people like that because they can control the money, like them making like all the younger generation blowing every penny that they earn, they keep the money coming back to them.
They want you in debt. They want to keep making this money off of you, making all this interest off of you.
Exactly, and that's another thing. I guess since we're on the financial topic,
as we put our tinfoil hats on,
right? But with interest, like I used to when I was growing up, my dad always, I was kind of programmed to hate the word interest, because if you're on the wrong side of interest, it's bad. Like you're losing money because somebody's making that interest off of you. You're not making the interest off of like your investment or whatever. So for the longest time, like, man, like I don't ever want to have a credit card because like I don't want anybody making interest off of me. Like anytime somebody says interest, it's like an interest on a loan or a mortgage or something like that. So I'm like, I don't want to ever have like be any part of that word. But now I'm like, if I can invest this money into that and make 10% interest, I'm like, hell yeah, like that's cool. So
Yeah.
you wanted to, there's nothing wrong with the word interest. You just want to make sure you're on the right side of it.
You have to apply it correctly.
Exactly. So that's a big thing. Like I read a lot of financial books. Like I try to always. Sadly, I just now started becoming. I wouldn't call it a bookworm, but I've read more books in the past year than I have in my entire life of getting out of high school. Like I was like, I'm not a book reader. Like, and I'm still. Let me make this clear as well. I'm still not a book reader. Like if I try to read an actual paperback book, I fall asleep really fast. Like a few pages, I'm like. But anyway, audiobooks. Like I love them. Like you can read them on the way to, or read them on the way to work, or like when I'm flying on an airplane, like whatever. Like so, I think in the past month, like I've already done like three different books. One of them is The Way of the Wolf. If you watch The Wolf of Wall Street, it's the way that he teaches people how to sell. And then the other one is the way that he like his whole story, how he like blew up and he got caught and everything like that. And what was the other one? I can't remember the other one. Anyway, I read all three of his books, and reading is, there's so much, people read so much online on Facebook, but they won't go read a book. Yeah. So, and there's so much knowledge in books. Like the smartest people in the world have taken their time and put everything they know into this book, and it's just sitting there waiting for you to open and or just to listen to.
People go online to read about the latest social drama, but they won't read a book to benefit themselves, to enlighten themselves, make themselves smarter, make themselves better.
Exactly, and I was the same way. I'm not pointing the finger. I'm pointing the finger at me. Like I was guilty of that. Like I would read so much drama on Facebook and everything like that, or even if it wasn't drama, it was just like scrolling. Like you're just scrolling.
People love drama, which is why I wanted to start this whole video out with. Let's get right into the rumors. Let's put it out there.
Yeah. So anyway, that's really an important things that I've learned, and why I share the financial post is because I just think it's not discussed enough. People need to take their finances more seriously, because I see so many people posting on the wrong side of financial, like with all the problems that they have. Like, man, I need $30 to make it to my next paycheck, and like I'm out of gas, like I can't.
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's
man.
a big one I see a lot. People don't even have gas money to get to work that week.
Yeah, and I'm like, the biggest thing is like learning from your mistakes. Like if I see a lot of times it's repetitive. The same people, like I'm short on my rent, or like it's the same people posting the same stuff. I'm like, man, you've been short on your rent for 5 years. Like every time I turn around, I've been seeing you post you can't come up with your rent money. You have a spending, well, one, you have a spending problem, and two, you have an income problem. You need to increase your income so you don't like spend more than you're making. But anyway, I think that can be a whole other video in itself. But that's the reason why I do the financial posts, is just to try to bring more awareness to people, so they take their finances more seriously.
Just to make it clear though, you're not doing it because I think a lot of people feel like you're talking down to them. You're trying to belittle them for being in those situations, and that's not why you're doing it.
Not at all.
You're doing it to try and get them aware that that's a problem. And you can do better, and this is how you do better.
Exactly. That's 100% the reason why I do that. And I do have people every now and then, they'll come to me like, man, I'm glad you like make those posts. I know people like talk negatively about it like a lot, but ever since you made that post this time last year, I started putting back $50, or I made this investment and it's paid me this, and I'm in a lot better place or whatever. But it was hard for me to swallow that pill of me being guilty of like that being me. Like I was like that person that post was kind of modeled around. So like it's hard to, people are really prideful, and it's hard to swallow that pride pill and put it aside and like, okay, I do have this problem, like I need to do better in this area. And the thing with books is, if you find a place that you're weak in, whether you don't know how to bake or you don't know how to whatever. Like, you can find a book about it where a professional all-time best.
You can watch YouTube videos about it.
Yeah, exactly. So you can find these people that like have been all-time best at these things, and they've put all their information in this book that's just waiting on you to read it. It can teach you so much. So I know I spend a lot of time on social media, and it very much so, because that's my business, like my presence and me putting the sales out there and everything like that. But anyway, very important to expand your smarts when it comes to like whatever you feel like you're weak on. Like if you like I knew I wanted to become a better salesman. I knew I wanted to like take my business to the next level, everything like that. So I'm like, how do I do that? I'm like, okay, who knows the most about this subject or whatever? So I go Google and like, okay, this dude was making $50 million a year at one time. So he obviously knew something. Like, so let me see what he did. Okay, let me see what I don't need to do so I don't go to prison for 5 years.
Yeah.
And so, but that's one of the things you can learn so much from people's mistakes. Other people's mistakes.
Yeah. You don't have to learn from your own mistakes, because if somebody's already made them, learn from theirs.
Exactly. So, and that goes back to the thing of like knowing when to keep your mouth shut. It's that person, like, because when I posted, I was reading that book, the Way of the Wolf, or the Wolf of Wall Street or whatever, and I'm like, man, I've learned so much from this guy. And they're like, oh, you're gonna turn into a con man, like piece of shit. And I'm like, no, I learned exactly what not to do from that person, like how you can increase your revenue, but do it in a logical way and not take advantage of people and everything like that. So
like, I haven't read his books, but I'm a little familiar with him, Jordan Belfort.
Mm-hmm.
He made a bunch of money. He then lost it all, went to prison, came out, and did it again.
Yeah, now he's crushing it with like teaching people how to sell and like having, and he comes to people's businesses and teaches them like how to make better sales and how to respond to people like saying no and everything like that. So now
he made mistakes, but he learned from them, came out, bettered himself, and
exactly
enlightened himself. He did better all over again.
Exactly. So. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Like on the finance thing, because I'm not a finance major by any means. Like I learn new stuff every day. But I can say that if you're going to, it's always better. Another thing is people like ask about how to get started in a business or whatever. And the biggest thing I can say is like just keep saving your money, because once you make the decision to like start your own business or make some investment, you got to have capital. So go ahead and get that part out of the way. Like save up some money, so if you decide to open up a lemonade stand, whatever it may be, it's going to require you spending $50 on water, lemons, and sugar and whatever. So in this little table to set up a lemonade stand. So it doesn't matter what you're trying to do. Like you need to have some capital saved up, and if you can use your own capital, is like the reward is way better, because if you have to take out a bank loan, like you're automatically having to pay them interest, like on the wrong side of the interest. So, but sometimes you have to do that to make your dream happen. Not saying there's anything wrong with it, but if you spend the time like right now preparing to do whatever investment you're trying to do, then it's best to use your own capital if you can. So, in my opinion, but that's the uneducated one, I guess. I'm not a finance major.
I totally agree with you. I totally agree. But I think we've covered a ton more than I expected to. Holy cow.
And so I guess that's gonna be it. But as far as like the haters thing, I know we spiraled off to Pluto on that one as well. But I've learned to I don't take anything that haters say to heart. I use it a lot as comedy, actually. Like it makes me laugh, because I'm like, where did you even get that from?
Well, let's put this out there, see if you agree that there's no such thing as bad publicity.
Right. Yeah, I would say 99.9% of the time there's not. There's. I mean, obviously if somebody murders somebody or something like that, that's bad publicity. But 99% of the time it doesn't matter, because what's going to happen when these people, and if you haven't seen this either, like every now and then I'll play my haters to my advantage. I'll even sometimes post about it before I even do it. Like I'll just post like,
you're
watch
really
what
piss
happens.
them off now.
I was like, watch what, like I'll make a post and like watch what happens in the next couple of days. I'm gonna put my haters to work for free on overtime or something like that. And then like a few days later, they're tearing the keyboards down, man. Johnathan Price is
for everyone it's on, we'll say Facebook. For everyone that's on Facebook hating, they're going to their own page, sharing something just to talk trash, just to talk trash about you, just to hate on you. They're sharing stuff to groups. I'm seeing in all these car audio groups, people are posting your stuff there just to go talk trash about you, and they don't even realize they're doing your advertising for you.
Exactly. So I've learned to leverage that into, like, that's another asset to growing my business, is like knowing how to play the game better than they do. Like a lot of times they don't even realize, like, that's being on another level. Like they don't even realize they're getting my haters are getting taken advantage of. Like I'm using them to the maximum potential, and they're just playing my game exactly how I have it planned out, and it works so beautifully. Sometimes I'm just laying in bed like just giggling like a little schoolgirl.
And what makes me laugh is you get YouTube comments. There's the haters there, and you know, like, they've got to be subscribed to you, just so they can get that notification, just so they can come watch your video, just so they can hate on it. And it's like,
what a life they live, right?
But at the same time, you just go, it doesn't matter, because they still came there, they still clicked on that video, you still got that view, you still got that watch time.
Yeah, and then the engagement, like when they comment, like it'll pop up in more people's stuff, like, and 99% of the time when somebody's hating and they post my stuff, like I get so many customers that are like, I didn't even know about you until somebody said that, like, you did some bad thing or whatever, and then I've been following you for the next couple of months, and you're a really good guy, so I started buying from you. Like I didn't even know who you were until the hater posted about you. I'm like, that's it right there. That's exactly how it works. So
I will, the same as when I see certain people trying to spread rumors or say something, and specifically charging for demos, and every time I see it now, I say it to them like, did he charge you for a demo? The answer is always no. Do you know somebody charged for a demo? The answer is always no. Show me somebody charged for a demo that can. So in that same sense, I will make a challenge out there to everybody who, for some reason, hates JP. He's at shows all over. He's at our show every year. He's at Slamology every year. All you gotta do is, you're gonna be at one of these shows too. Come up to him, tell him why you hate him. If you have a legit reason, come to the show, come up to him and be like, hey, you did this thing and I don't like that. And give him a chance to change your mind. Give him a chance to explain whatever happened, because it's probably a misunderstanding. It's probably something random you read online. And come and tell him and give him a chance to talk to you about it.
Yeah, I do have people that like come to me like after meeting me at shows, like they'll form an opinion about me. What is that? Being prejudiced? Is that
assumption?
That's something like, yeah, assuming or whatever. Like just because some people see so much stuff over the years or whatever before they actually meet me in person, and they're like, oh, like, we saw all these people say that you were a prick, that you were too good to talk to people, or like that person the other day, my friend's little boy started doing a live video and you just turned your back on him. I'm like, I would never do something like that. Like where do you even come up with that? Unless, the only thing I can think of, and there's always like more sides of the story, if somebody had just came to get me to take me to get a demo or something like that, and I promised them like I would come at right that time, and that person happened to start recording right then, and I had to go. But that would be the only reason that would ever happen. I would never do that. More than
likely, he was coming up or whatever, you just got distracted and they didn't get your attention. Because I know if especially if there was a little boy there wanted to get even a picture with you or shake your hand, you're going to do it.
Oh yeah, exactly.
You're not be like no and turn your back. Like, that don't even make sense. It doesn't even sound right when you say it.
I know. I like when he posted it, I'm like, really? Like that's the message you could come up with?
Yeah, it's
come on, man.
I've seen and I've posted pictures from Sundown Show of you in the line of people there waiting. Well, that line wouldn't be there if you treated people that way.
Exactly. Like I think the proof's pretty much in the pudding. But like I was saying, some of the people like will come up to me, like I heard, like I've read these people say you're a prick and you're stuck up and everything like that, and like I waited in the line and I came to meet you or whatever, and like I owe you an apology. Like you're totally not that person that I kind of brewed up in my head of like what I thought you were going to be. Like you talked to me like a normal person. Like didn't like not that you were above me or anything like that. And that's why I tell people, like I have like some grown men that come up and they're like so hyped up to meet me, like, because they've been watching me online for so long, and they just watch my YouTube channel, so they view me as somewhat of a celebrity, so they're kind of like geeking of like getting to meet me. I'm like, man, it's no big deal, man. I'm just another bass head like you. And no, man, you got this big system and you run this multi-million-dollar company and this and that. Like, but I'm still just a bass head, man. Like, this is what I love to do. I love to talk to you guys and be out here and get demos from other people and everything like that. And that was another reason why I named it The Life of Price, because I didn't want it to be just about my truck. Like, I mean, even though that's what most people follow me for, but I wanted it to make it a platform for other people to get out there as well. So, like now when I go to shows, I try to get as many other people's rides as well, so I can help them get out there, because I feel like I've already made it somewhat. So like if I can help other people like get like going or get some traction as well, then I mean I think that's great, because if you just constantly help yourself all the time, I do believe you need to help yourself before you can truly help others. Like I think you need to make sure you're somewhat taken care of or being able to take care of yourself before you can help other people on a really good level. Because if you're
don't starve yourself trying to feed everybody else.
That's a really good saying there. So that pretty much hits the nail on the head. Like, because a lot of people will spend their entire lives trying to make other people happy or live a mediocre or a poor life, like making sure other people have stuff better. Like you hear people, and I was kind of that way. I've always been a giver. Like it's awesome to give, but when you can give and not put yourself in a bad predicament or whatever, it's really a good feeling to be able to give like that. But yeah, I just think you need to make sure you're good first, and then like help people like on like bigger levels maybe, so you don't put yourself in a bad position. But yeah, I would definitely say the haters have helped me a lot. Like they'll never realize it, they'll never admit it, and it'll definitely never like come to full circle in their head, because they just think they're winning this battle, whatever battle it may be of beating JP. They think that they're winning it, but I assure you I'm 2 steps ahead of you, like playing you at your own game way better than you are. So but I'm good with it. It definitely brings a lot of humor to my life.
All right, we're gonna wrap it up there because we've been going for a while. So wrap this up. If you got a problem with him, come to a show. Come to him in person. I guarantee you're gonna get a free handshake, a free autograph.
Yeah.
He will talk to you. You will get a free demo. Yeah, it's not as bad as some of these people make it out to be. But if you've got a problem, whatever reason it is, come to him in person. Be like, hey, you did this. I don't like it. Give him a chance to fix it. Give him a chance to change your mind. So with that being said, if you like what we're doing here on the channel, click the thumbs up, give us a like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. Until next time.
All right, man. I enjoyed it, man. Thanks for the interview.